This Michigan 500 NBC Sports Special is brought to you by AC Delco, General Motors Corporation. AC Delco is the way to go. By Budweiser, proud sponsor of the U.S. Olympic team. For all you do, this Bud's for you. By RCA, bringing you the new remote programmable VCR. And by Pennzoil Motor Oil. Quality protection, ask for it. It's a bright, beautiful, sunshiny afternoon in the state of Michigan, and the fans are pouring into the grandstands here. They will be filled to capacity for what should be an exciting Michigan 500. Hello, I'm Paul Page, and welcome to Michigan with three-time Indianapolis 500 champion Bobby Unser. Now, here are a few facts for this 500 qualifying field. Look at these names. Over 22 drivers of the 33 have qualified at better than 200 miles an hour, and the field average is 200.596 miles an hour. Bobby Unser, a very fast field.
Impressive, no kidding. But I'll tell you, we also have a good, classy field of drivers. Not only the cars, Paul, but we have, I think you and I sat down and figured we've got 13 or 14 strong possibilities for winning this race out of the drivers.
The crowd's favorite, the pole sitter, Mario Andretti. Now, he's been winning races, but all of his recent victories have come on road courses. The last time he won on an oval was 4 years ago here at Michigan in the 150.
That's right. We were on the same team together driving for Roger Penske. I finished second that day. And I'll tell you another thing that's very interesting. Mario has only won one 500-mile Indianapolis car race in his career, but he's led a bunch of them.
There's another man that should definitely be a factor in this race, A.J. Foyt. Now, because his wing was slightly out of measurement, his qualification run was disqualified. He'll be starting in the last position in the field. Yesterday, Gary Gerald asked him his strategy for the start of the race.
A.J., what's the strategy going to be for the start of this race tomorrow? Have you decided yet?
I'm going to have to hurry like hell.
Are you going to make a rocket run from the back?
Well, we're going to try to, yeah, because it's not the leader to be lapping me before I get through the traffic, so we're going to have to try to get up through there as quick as we can.
Race car responding the way you'd want it to be at this point?
We ran a while ago a little over 204, 203.9, pretty easy, pretty comfortable, full load of fuel, so kind of happy with it.
Nice to see you back in action in Michigan, A.J.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So A.J. Foyt is ready. He will start from the 33rd starting position. The time for anticipation is over. It's time for that famous command. Here's John Grettenberger, General Manager of Cadillac Motor Car Division and Vice President of General Motors Corporation.
Gentlemen, start your engines!
Started on pit road here at Michigan International Speedway. 33 drivers ready to go. The crews all indicating that they are ready to run. Mario Andretti is ready. The field is ready to go at Michigan. And we'll be back for the start of the Michigan 500 right after this. We're back live at the Michigan 500, ready for action here as the field now rolling off of pit road. They are ready for action as well. There you see them as they line up behind the PPG pace cars. One car, though, with a problem on the pit road. Originally scheduled to start on the outside of the third row, the machine of Roberto Guerrero would not fire. They've taken the top off. They're working on it. Let's go down the pit road. In Roger Penske's pit, the car that Rick Mears will be driving, Bruce Jenner is there.
Thank you, Paul. And you mentioned earlier in the opening that Rick Mears has a lot at stake, $1 million if he can win the Triple Crown. That's the 3 500-mile races on the circuit. That's Indianapolis, which he's already won, today Michigan, and then Pocono next month. Now, he's got a lot of things going for him. One, his crew is very enthusiastic. The car is very well prepared. He's in the second row. He qualified well, and with full fuel yesterday in practice, he ran very strong. He's also driving a March, serial number 8418. That's the car he won Indianapolis with. And the car's, that's the only time the car has run, so the car is undefeated. undefeated. But he's got one thing that he's going to have to overcome. That's a Penske team has never won the Michigan 500. That's sort of ironic because Roger Penske owns Michigan International Speedway. Let's move down the pits right now to Gary Gerald. Gary?
Well, Bruce, the problem here for Roberto Guerrero, simply one of no spark. They can't get the ignition system to work. Among the rest of the crew in here working as quickly as they possibly can. The first parade lap now being completed. Roberto sitting as calmly as he can here. He was a second-place finisher at Indianapolis. This is his first time on the super speedway. He'd love to get the opportunity to go 500 miles. But right now the car roars to life. They've made changes in the spark box. The cowling going back on top of Roberto Guerrero's car. He will get a chance to get up into position now if they can get him buckled down in time and get him rolling away. So that's the way we have it at the moment. Let's go back up to Paul Page now as we'll check out the rest of the starting grid for the Michigan 500.
Let's take a look at the starting field for the 4th Michigan 500. The front row on the pole, his 5th pole of the 1984 season, Mario Andretti. Mario won his last oval race here at Michigan International 4 years ago. The center of the front row is Tom Sneva. He's won a 500 at Pocono and at Indianapolis, but he has not won a 500 at Michigan. The outside of the row, Bobby Rahal. The 3rd time in the front row this year. He won his first super speedway race here 2 years ago. The 2nd row on the inside, Rick Mears, 2-time Indianapolis 500-mile race champion, trying to conquer the Triple Crown. This would be the 2nd jewel in the Triple Crown of auto racing. Kevin Kogan sits in the center of the 2nd row. He is taking over the 33 car from Teo Bobby, who has returned to Formula One. Howdy Holmes sits on the outside of the 2nd row in his 6th year of IndyCar racing, still looking for his first victory. The 3rd row on the inside, the 1982 Michigan 500 champion Gordon Johncock, badly injured here last year, but he is set and ready to go again. The center of the row, Pancho Carter, the first winner of a Michigan 500 in a new ride. He too is ready to run. The outside of the 3rd row, the fastest rookie, Roberto Guerrero, 2nd at Indianapolis, but this is his first run on a super speedway. The 4th row on the inside is Johnny Rutherford, teammate to A.J. Foyt. It is his 2nd run in an Indy car this year. Alongside Johnny Rutherford, a rookie here at Michigan, Michael Andretti. His first time running these high banks, he's set to go, but concerned about the bumps on the course. The outside is Scott Brayton. His best finish here was a 7th 2 years ago. He lives only 20 miles away. The 5th row on the inside, rookie Al Holbert, the 1983 IMSA champ. He's ready for a fast run in the Michigan 500. And then Al Unser Jr., who sits right alongside of his father. Al scored his first kart victory this year. His father is the defending national champion and sits on the outside of the 5th row. Here's a look at the rest of this 500 field. There in the 6th row, Danny Sullivan, the most recent winner. He won at Cleveland. An entire row of rookies. The 9th row, Chet Phillip, Ed Pym, Stan Fox. But at the moment, it is a problem for a rookie on the race course. Of course, A.J. Foyt will be starting in the 33rd position. The rookie with the problem at the moment is Chet Phillip. He stalled on the backstretch. They sent out the safety vehicles to collect his car in. And Bobby Unser, now he's rolling down the pit road, but it doesn't look like this will be a start.
Well, there still could be, Paul. The truck is trying to pull in to make it a start right now. There's a real good chance. Oh, they're going one more lap, I guess.
There goes Phillip into his pits. The pace car keeps their revolving yellow lights on. That indicates that they will keep the field out for one more lap because a safety vehicle on the course. The field is ready, anticipating a start for this race. But the indicator, of course, is not only the yellow flag that Nick Finoro has at the starting line on the pace car. They do have lights that will tell you whether or not you're going to come back to green. It's a beautiful day here in Michigan this afternoon. Look at this. This is the outside of the front row. That's the view from Bobby Rahal's car, just over his right shoulder. Our NBC kart cam. Ahead, you see the pace car. You see the yellow lights are flickering off and on, telling them they'll go around again.
Yeah, the main thing, Paul, is this going to change the fuel strategy just a little bit. Believe it or not, they only allow you 3 laps for warm-up on your fuel. And so it's going to put everybody in a little bit different planning stage for their first pit stop.
Bobby Rahal as he brings the engine up and down in the first and second turn now. There's a couple of bumps on this race course. He just passed over one of them. That'll be a story that we'll be talking about throughout the afternoon. Temperature right now at 81 degrees. Bobby, they expect it to get hotter, and that's going to be a bit of a problem.
Yes, it is. But, you know, if you keep looking outside, we've got these small thunderstorms, not really thunderstorms, just small clouds that are building up. And if they just get a little bit thicker, it's going to help the guys more than you can believe.
Well, the chance of rain here is less than 20%, and that's good news for the Michigan 500. The field on the backstretch now. They weave the cars back and forth, bringing temperature into those tires to make sure they'll operate well. The pace car picks up speed in the third turn as the 11 rows of 3. The traditional start for a 500-mile race. Now less the machine of Chet Phillip. It still sits in the pits. Mario Andretti, the pole sitter. Tom Sneva, the center of the front row. Bobby Rahal on the outside, watching the early lap for moves from Rick Mears from the second row outside, a position that he likes to start in. He likes to make the approach from the outside. Now they're aligned. They come down toward the tri-oval, and the green flag in the hands of the starter. Let's see if we go green this time as Andretti begins to accelerate. The green flag is out, and we are racing in the fourth Michigan 500. Andretti pulls out in front, and Andretti starts to lead, but the challenge comes instantly from Sneva.
Well, he's trying him underneath, but I think right now Tom's just going to play with him a little bit. He might try to overtake him on the back straightaway, Paul, but I think right now it's just a feel-out thing.
Battle at the front of the field. The battle for the lead. It's Mario Andretti, Tom Sneva. Bobby Rahal closes up now. Tries to make a run on Sneva. Can't do it. Drops back a bit. It's a battle at the front. Lap number 1 of the Michigan 500. Mario Andretti. Bobby Rahal comes way low. Then sitting in fourth place is Rick Mears. Here comes Andretti. He completes lap number 1 of 250 laps as the leader of the Michigan 500. It's a dead heat for second place between Rahal and Sneva.
Well, got a good race on. I think it's going to be good. We've got enough cloud to keep it a little bit cool. If it doesn't get hot, we should have a lot of cars finished today. Right now, Mario's stretching out a little bit of a lead, but I think a lot of this is just going to be strategy with the other guys, Paul.
Rahal coming in on the charge again. This is the battle for second place. It's Andretti that is leading this fight, and Kevin Kogan, the new driver in the Bandit car number 33, comes up into the fight as well. And Gordon Johncock is running around using a low line on the course as he joins that battle.
Well, Gordon Johncock is very quick here. He always has been quick here. And of course, many races Gordon's had go bad on him. He'd really like this race to turn out good, and I think he's going to try extra hard.
Across the line, it was Mario, then Tom Sneva, Bobby Rahal, Kevin Kogan. The fight continues in the back of the field as Andretti begins to pull out just a little bit ahead. Kogan comes to the inside of Johncock. The battle is for third place. Kogan takes over third. Johncock drops back just a bit.
Well, Kogan's driving, of course, Theo Fabi's X-car. I think that Kevin is really out to show his bosses, the Forsythe brothers, that he's really doing a good job for him, Paul.
That is a magnificent machine. Some wonderful preparation on it by Barry Green and the Green team. As this fight continues, a wonderful fight coming around Johncock now. There's Johncock. He makes his charge back on the low side of the course.
Well, the fight is really happening between the first 4 cars right now. We're having a heck of a race. I didn't expect this much of a race this early, to be honest with you.
Tom Sneva comes back around Johncock once again. That is the fight for fourth place. First is Mario Andretti. Rahal is second. Kevin Kogan is third. And it is an early time now. Rick Mears comes up into the fight as well. This is a long race, Bobby. You don't want to fight here. Look at this battle.
No, I think in some of the guys, I kind of know their habits, like with Rick Mears. And all Rick is doing is feeling everybody out right now. He just doesn't want to get caught too far back. And Rick is, for example, running very, very conservative as far as his boost is concerned. He's probably not running over 45 inches, which means he's dumping off about 75 horsepower.
Mario Andretti is still out in front. He is being chased by Bobby Rahal. Kevin Kogan up in the fight for the lead as well. But they continue a fight at the front of the field. Now, we mentioned earlier that there is a problem here with bumps. It is something that we're going to be speaking about a little bit later as well. But between the first and second turn and on the approach to the third turn, there are some pretty severe bumps that really bounce the car around. Here is A.J. Foyt. Remember, he started 33rd. As he works his way up through the field, Foyt has his hands full, but if anybody can come through traffic, it's A.J.
Well, he's gonna get through it, but the field is already separated. With 200 miles plus an hour, it doesn't take too long. And, you know, right now, for example, Kevin Kogan has taken over the lead from Mario Andretti, Paul. And I think I think this is poor planning on Kevin's part so early in the race.
Kevin Kogan comes past. Bobby Rahal comes past. Is Andretti just going to slow down and watch the race, or do we have a problem?
Mario, no, I don't think he has a problem. He may have, but I don't think so. I think what he's doing is he's just playing a smart race. He realizes it's 500 miles and it's going to be surely bad on the car.
So Kevin Kogan picks up the lead of the Michigan 500. Bobby Rahal follows him around into second place, and Mario Andretti drops back to third. Tom Sneva is fourth. Rick Mears is fifth. Scotty Brayton moved up to sixth place on the start, and Pancho Carter is now in seventh. There's the third place machine. It's Mario Andretti. The leader is Kevin Kogan.
I think you're going to see a lot of just playing around for the lead early here. I don't think you're going to see anybody that's too serious about it. I think there's just a lot of playing to see what the other guy's doing. You know, they want to know how the other cars are handling, Paul. Each driver wants to know what his competition is going to be. And right now, it looks like the competition's in the front of the field.
A three-car battle working for third place, as well as the fight for the lead. There's the third place fight. Tom Sneva went around Mario Andretti. Now Rick Mears moving around. There's no question about it now, Bobby. Mario Andretti is definitely slowing down. In fact, he's down low on the course as Scotty Brayton closes up behind him. And Scotty Brayton is going to come around Andretti.
Well, he obviously has some sort of a problem now. We're going to have to start looking at it to see what's the matter, because now he's back up high on the racetrack, so I don't know. We'll just watch him a couple of laps and see.
Well, Mario Andretti, we mentioned it earlier, does not have his best luck on the ovals. His last win was here 4 years ago, as Andretti is now running in sixth place. Now, we mentioned Chet Phillip at the beginning of the race, not taking the green flag with everything else. Let's get the rest of that story. Here's Gary Gerald.
No question, Chet Phillip has got to be the most disappointed tricksing around right now. A.J. Foyt, of course, from Texas. Johnny Rutherford from Texas. Here's another Texan, Chet Phillip, just sitting here trying to hang on to be patient. But they have a fuel starvation problem. They've yet to fire the engine. He's been here since the green flag, patiently waiting for the crew to try to come up with a correction so he can get back in the race.
Chet Phillip sits and waits while the fight continues on the race course. Mario Andretti being passed once again, this time by his son, Michael Andretti. So Mario has either decided that he's going to slow down, take it easy, and watch the front, or right now they're communicating on the radios for some real serious trouble.
Well, there's something definitely wrong, because it's not Mario's way to slow down this far. Right away now you have Jose Garza passing him, and that's a long ways. Jose's running quite well right now, but I'm surprised that Mario's fallen this far back.
Jose Garza with some good moves on the start. Started 18th and has moved up now to 9th as the leaders now engaging traffic, and that gives you an idea of how fast the front of this field has been. There was a 23-mile-an-hour difference between the pole position speed of Mario Andretti and the slowest car in the field. Already Kevin Kogan, our leader, comes through traffic, but he is only the leader by inches as he comes to the line. Rahal in the challenge, and Rahal just nips him at the line.
Well, they're having a good battle up there, but we'll have to put a stopwatch on them to see, Paul. I don't think they're running all that fast, but they are certainly doing a battle for first place.
Now it's Bobby Rahal that continues to stay in front. The race started with Andretti out in front, then the lead taken away by Kevin Kogan, and now Bobby Rahal takes the lead at the Michigan 500.
Kevin's right on his rear end, though, and I think it's going to stay that way for a little while. They've really got quite a bit of, they've broken the draft. They're quite a ways ahead of the third place car.
The number 3 machine of Mario Andretti yesterday in the final practice session had some problems in their suspension. Last night, Tony Sicali said that they corrected those problems, but apparently they are now discussing on the two-way radio that there is a problem with that car, and they are contemplating a pit stop. Kevin Kogan closing down on the leader, who is Bobby Rahal. We'll be back with more from the Michigan 500 right after this. Bobby Rahal leads. This is Paul Page. We're back live at the Michigan 500. A car just as we come to the air, spinning in the center of the backstretch, still under power, and now beginning to pull back on the course. But the yellow flag flies at Michigan for the first time. And the leaders head for the pits. We ran the first 10 laps of the race at 197.8 miles an hour. This is the first yellow of the day. Bobby Rahal, the leader of the race. Kevin Kogan in second place. Tom Sneva in third. Rick Mears fourth. Michael Andretti fifth. Scotty Brayton is sixth. Jose Garza seventh. Pancho Carter is eighth. Al Unser is ninth. And 10th place is Al Unser Jr. There is the live shot from over Bobby Rahal's right shoulder, the leader of the race, as he is following the PPG pace car. You might notice Bobby Unser a little sparkle on the item out there. It's normally just a luminescent glove to tell the drivers whether or not to come by the pace car, or whether or not to stay. A special thing this race, the PPG pace car girls have put together a Michael Jackson kind of glove to put on the glove. So we are under yellow at the Michigan 500.
That's good. We're having an awfully fast race so far.
Now, as the leaders come into the race, there is first place Bobby Rahal, second place is Kevin Kogan, and waiting for Kogan is Bruce Jenner.
Right now, Kevin Kogan comes into the pits, and as his crew goes over there, Barry Green, the crew chief, holding out the Skull Bandit sign to stop Kevin Kogan on the marks. He's just looking for fuel right now. They changed the right rear, but it's a very quick change for Kevin Kogan. He's driving very well in his new ride.
Bobby Rahal back to the action. Kevin Kogan back to the action. Result of the yellow. Now they'll do a quick check of the circuit. In the meantime, let's go down to Gary Gerald.
Well, Paul Mario is just in the pits. You can see Roberto Guerrero burning out now. Here comes Howdy Holmes also in the pit area. The concern for Andretti, we're told, is a motor problem. If it was a handling problem, they thought they could correct it. Now they don't know. A lot of concern here. Andretti was in only quickly. We'll try to update the story. But it is an engine-related problem for Mario.
So Bobby Unser, a most interesting situation there with Mario Andretti, possibly something wrong with the engine. Now, let's go back to the start of this event. We mentioned to you A.J. Foyt starting in 33rd place. Bobby Unser, here comes A.J. Let's look at him in the replay of the beginning of the race. A.J. Foyt immediately dusts off one row. Gets bottled up just a bit. Watch him weave through traffic here.
Well, he's looking pretty good. He's moving. Of course, you got to remember, Paul, these cars are pretty easy to pass, and we expected him to polish off about the first 3 rows in a big hurry. So we'll see pretty quick here by the rerun whether he's really working or not working.
Dick Simon and Peter Halsmer just in front of him. He accelerates pretty evenly with him now as he heads through the third turn. Again, look at that. Right up against the wall. 4 cars in one pass on one turn. Can he make it by? Nope, got to string it. Really chops in.
He's really boxed in there, I'll tell you. He's in a traffic jam, like being out in Los Angeles.
Coming through traffic is a skill that A.J. knows so well. Years of training on the dirt. Continuing to watch A.J. Foyt. Remember, this is back at the start of the race. We put a camera specifically on A.J. to watch him come up through.
Yeah, he's got to be kind of careful there, Paul. He's been bit here several times before, as you well know, and he has to be careful. Some of those drivers really don't know A.J. Foyt, and they're not used to starting with a very fast guy in the back.
By the same token, A.J. Foyt has not regularly raced in the IndyCars, and he's not so sure of these guys. There he goes past Tony Bettenhausen and continues to move his way up through the field. Remember, this was in the first 2 laps.
Yeah, well, you got to remember, he's trying a heck of a lot less than he could be trying. He's being very careful right now.
What he really wants to do is get in contact with the leaders so he can keep track of them, doesn't he?
Yes, he does. But remember, the yellow flags are going to help him quite a bit. Every time this yellow flag is going to be a close-up, and as long as he doesn't get lapped by the leaders, he's going to remain in a good position.
So this was the man that started in 33rd place, A.J. Foyt. And he is now running in 17th position. Let's go to Chip Ganassi's pit. Here's Bruce Jenner.
Well, when Chip came into the pits just a second ago while Kevin Kogan was pitting, all of a sudden a little fire broke out. And they were able to get it under control. Ganassi went back out. But one of the crewmen got burnt a little bit right along the face. The medical crew is looking at him right now. Chip Ganassi went back out for 1 lap, came back in again, and stopped just for a second. They started to put some more fuel in it, but again, they ran into problems. And now Chip Ganassi, let's move over.
He's back, Bruce. We understand he lost the wheel.
Right now, they're going to try to refuel the car and see what they can do. But Chip Ganassi, this is his 3rd time in the pit in the last couple of laps.
The report was, Bruce Jenner, that there was a loose wheel on that car. Let's take a look at it. Chip Ganassi, as he rolls down into the pit area, you see the right front bouncing off. That tells you immediately that the left rear is gone. So Bobby Unser, somebody in that crew, is probably going to be lectured on how to put a wheel on the car.
Yes, it might be a lot more serious than a lecture. Most drivers don't like that, and I know darn good and well that Jim McGee, the chief or the team leader there, is not going to like it too well.
So Chip Ganassi, who had his best finish in kart at the Burke Lakefront Airport, 2 weeks ago with a second place, is now going to have to work his way up through, but still the car is running and safe. The green flag is out, and we're racing once again as Jose Garza, by not making a pit stop, is our leader. In second place is Danny Sullivan. Tom Sneva is currently running in third, but he goes around Sullivan, and Sneva is now in second.
Well, it won't take long for him to polish Jose off. I don't really know why they didn't bring Jose in for that. It's going to hurt him a lot. He's going to have to possibly stop under green. If they don't have another yellow right away, he's in trouble.
Here with 500 miles, a minimum of 6 pit stops. Who knows how many you will actually make? It's the strategy of the race that counts so much. It's not just the driver. It is also what your pit crew is going to do with you, Bobby Unser, and when you are going to stop. There is Jose Garza out in the lead. Sneva second. Danny Sullivan is in third. They begin to separate. Rick Mears comes around Sullivan, and now Mears is in third place ahead of Danny Sullivan. Average speed of the race with that yellow flag now at just over 165 miles an hour.
We just had Chip Ganassi in the pits again, changing a right front tire, so that cost him a lap. He's down a lap already. Kind of sad.
Back to speed now. Strategy going to be an absolute key, and constant communication, two-way radio communication, as well as pit blackboards that are held by crew members out along the edge of the pit road, constantly talking back and forth with the drivers. Jose Garza has to be sailing for the moment. He is leading this race. He led last year for a bit at Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin, but he has not seen the front of the field quite as much as he would like, and has never scored a victory in IndyCars.
Well, this is the best he's ever looked at a track like this, and he's going a lot faster than a lot of people would expect, and he's doing a good job, Paul.
There's the fight. Not truly a fight for third and fourth, but you're looking at Rick Mears being chased by Pancho Carter. Pancho Carter, a most interesting story, has not had a ride for several races, and then when Tom Gloy got the call to stay in the Trans Am, where he is the points leader and would be running this weekend, the car became available, number 77 machine, and Pancho Carter climbed into it. Now Kevin Cogan comes up around and around Pancho Carter. Kevin Cogan has fourth place, and Pancho Carter drops back to fifth. So Cogan dropping into the pits, a quick stop, and now he's cycling his way up through the lead serial.
You notice that most of the fast guys are right back up the middle and front because they know when to pit. They pit as early as they can under the yellow, which is really important.
The race continues to run with Jose Garza as the leader, Tom Sneva second, Rick Mears is third, Pancho Carter is fourth, and Kevin Cogan is running in fifth. We'll be back. This is Paul Page with Bobby Unser, Bruce Jenner, and Gary Gerald. We are back live at the Michigan 500. 27 laps are complete. Jose Garza continues to be our leader, being chased by Tom Sneva and Rick Mears. Just a moment ago, a bit of a problem developing in the pits. Ed Pim's number 64 machine came in for what should have been routine service, and then shades of the past, the car caught fire. This is a tape of that action just a few moments ago. Ed Pim immediately climbed out of the race car. The crews have learned their lessons from previous fires and have buckets of water to throw in the machine as well. Let's go down to the pits. Here's Gary Gerald.
Well, Paul, you talk about all the buckets. We saw 5-gallon buckets by the armload being brought in here. Ed Pim is just drenched. You can see the water dripping down out of his gloves, the balaclava, the helmet, down to his feet. But the important thing, Ed, is that you're all right.
Yeah, I'm fine. I don't think I got burned at all.
Can you tell us what happened?
Well, the car wasn't handling very well. I wanted to come in and make an adjustment. It was pushing out towards the wall. I just wanted to come in and make an adjustment. I stopped the car, and the first thing I know it was on fire. People were screaming, so I jumped out of there. They threw water on me.
Well, I know it's a frustrating way to end your afternoon. How about the track conditions this early in 500 miles? How are you finding it?
Well, besides the push that was in the car, everything else was fine. Temperatures were good. I just thought I was losing more time out there than if I came in, make a quick adjustment, and go back out, but it just didn't work out that way.
Well, we're glad you're all right. A short afternoon for Ed Pim. He in the 64 car, now out of the competition, Paul.
One of the nice things about alcohol as a fuel is if you just dilute it with water, it won't carry any burning properties at all, and it'll stop burning. Kevin Cogan, currently occupying fourth place, has been running with a rather constant battle with Pancho Carter. He breaks that battle off now. Kevin Cogan, our fourth place machine. Now, we talked about the bump on this track. It's very difficult to see while the cars are running at full speed from the camera view we see there. Kevin Cogan approaches it now. You saw just a bit of a hop as he bumps over it. Let's take a closer look at this extremely controversial portion of the race course on the approach to 3. As the cars travel down the back straightaway at speeds over 215 miles an hour, the bumps are barely visible. But watch the rear wing here on Al Unser Jr.'s car. Again, it's not as noticeable as it could be, but believe me, it's teeth jarring, and it can be dangerous. Again, we look at Al Unser Jr. Look under the car as he comes to the first of the two bumps. It literally throws the car in the air, almost pulls the rear wheels off the ground. Another view, again, turn 3. As they come through it, Al Unser Jr. We see it just slightly. For the drivers, it's a matter of real concern.
Well, I think during the race, I'm just going to have to be careful about turning the wheel a little early as I go over it. You know, I got to keep it straight as you go over the bump and then turn after the bump.
I think that, you know, when you're going this fast, it really is important that the track is smooth. And I know it's an expensive, you know, venture, but I think that this track is about due.
It's not dangerous. It's just tough on the race cars and tough on the drivers, and it probably why you get probably less cars finish this race than the majority of the others.
Again, looking at Al Unser Jr., you see the car literally flex. The engine mounts on many of these cars have pulled loose during the practice here. We'll keep watching. Now here is the leader, Tom Sneva. Sneva took over first place just a second ago as Jose Garza peeled off and into the pits. But remember, Garza had not made a pit stop, and it was right on schedule. Garza now back running at speed. He was running, Bobby, laps at better than 200 miles an hour in the last few laps of his lead.
Yes, he was running 199, 200 miles an hour laps, but it was a very bad decision, in my opinion, because they should have brought him in on the first yellow to get fuel with everybody else, because now he stopped under the green, which means he obviously has lost a lap plus.
22nd stop for Garza, fuel only on that machine. The leader is Tom Sneva. Second place is now Rick Mears, and here is the third place driver, Kevin Kogan, car number 33. He's got to be having a great time, Bobby, because he is finally in a machine this year that's really going to run for the front. He took over Teo Fabi's machine. Fabi has gone back to Formula One.
Well, you got to admit the boy found a nice race car to drive. The Forsythe brothers do a good job, and the mechanics on the car do a good job. And I think it's, since the Penske ride, it's by far the best that Kevin has ever had.
35 laps the distance now of 250 laps scheduled. The average speed about 164 miles an hour. We are hoping that the speed picks up substantially. There is the possibility of some very fast running here today, and also the possibility of some records. Now watching Tom Sneva out in front, Mears second, Kogan third, Pancho Carter fourth, and Bobby Rahal is fifth. There's Kogan.
We're seeing some good racing on in the back. There's good racing all over the track right now. Strangely enough, Paul, they're racing a little bit harder early in the race than you and I both expected.
Why do you think they've done that, Bobby?
I don't really know. I think a lot of it has to be there's a few clouds around the air, and it's not nearly as hot today as it was predicted. It was supposed to be 94 degrees.
Jose Garza right there, Bobby, as you see him coming up back through the field now, trying to move his way up through position. Garza was our leader for a bit, and he is now in direct contest with looks like Tony Bettenhausen, as they've broken off now, but they were head-to-head there for him.
He's losing ground right now, Paul. You know, that yellow car, I think the Simonite's car, Pancho Carter's, he just passed him. Little Alex just passed Jose Lee, and I think with a full load of fuel, Jose Lee just not handling as good as he was earlier.
So Pancho Carter, the 77 machine, currently running in 6th place. Again, our leader is Tom Sneva. Second place is Rick Mears.
And of course, we've got Kevin Kogan back up in third, and Bobby Rahal still running good in 4th place.
There's Tom Sneva as he runs out in front. Excellent on the ovals, especially good on the short tracks, but the track record holder here at Michigan for the qualifying, the one-lap average.
He's good on any oval. Doesn't make any difference where the racetrack is, and he's also starting to become fairly good on the road circuits, believe it or not.
So Tom Sneva now out in front, 4 seconds over the second place car of Rick Mears. Watch for that yellow machine to come through. You see through the red car belongs to Mario Andretti as he comes through the view as well. Rick Mears, we've got a problem on the course. The 4th turn, a car spinning, coming down, Phil Kruger. Spinning in the 4th turn, apparently kept it away from everything, and now rolls on the course, and looks like he's going to be able to bring it on in. Phil Kruger.
Well, that shows how fast the kart officials are. They already had the yellow flag out before he got that car straightened out. Now you're going to see a lot of the cars coming into the pits for another pit stop.
Pit strategy, the question at this point in the race. The question, too, is what happens with Mario Andretti as Tom Sneva, the leader, comes in, because the indications are that if Andretti can take the opportunity of a yellow pit stop, then they're going to do some serious work on the electrical system on his engine. Tom Sneva, the leader. There's the second place. Actually, now the third place machine of Kevin Kogan as they do a right side tire change. There's the leader. He heads out into the action. Tom Sneva moves back. In the meantime, Bobby Rahal comes around, but Rahal should pit as well.
I'm sure they will. In fact, you'll see Mario probably pit the next time by. He was trying to pick up some lost ground to the leaders by kind of hurt you, because last in is last out. That's a rule of the thumb into the pit, Paul. And Mario had to stay back out. Well, he's still back out on the track. I don't know what in the world he's
Here's Bobby Rahal. He's the leader of the race at the moment. You're watching live, but he comes down into the pits. He assumed the lead, stayed out a lap longer than Sneva. Now let's watch as Rahal comes to a stop. They've got it precisely marked for him. There the car lifts up. Bobby Rahal makes an adjustment or two. The cup with a little water comes over, and it's available for him.
Now we have Mario coming in. Excuse me, that's Jeff Ganassi. But what you're going to see with Bobby Rahal now, it's going to kind of hurt him, because after he didn't get in early enough, Paul. So when he goes back out, he's physically going to be way back in the pack, which is really not the ideal situation right now.
There's again Bobby Rahal's view. That tiny kart cam just over his right shoulder as he heads back into the action. Scotty Brayton, who has had a good ride, is on the circuit. Here's Bobby Rahal coming down around Peter Halsmer as he blends back into the field. Remember, we are under yellow. And as a result of the scrambling, here is Mario Andretti. Al Unser's picked up the lead. But let's look and see what they're going to do. Just 1 second on this car. They're going to take the back off, so they're going to do some work on the engine on Mario Andretti's car. Al Unser leads. We'll be back. This is Paul Page. We are back live at the Michigan 500. We are still under yellow. When we left you, Mario Andretti was making a pit stop to see what they could do about that ailing engine. Let's get the report from Gary Gerald.
Paul, it's simply amazing what they can do in such a short space of time. During that yellow, during the commercial break, they changed all spark plugs in that Cosworth motor. He lost a cylinder, the crew tells us, running on 7 cylinders. But they also say, despite the fact that he's gone down laps to the leader, that in 1977 at Pocono, Mario had the same problem. They came in, changed plugs. He made up enough ground that he eventually finished second, a close second to Tom Sneva at Pocono back in 1977. So they still are clinging to some optimism and some hope after some very fast pit work down here for Mario. Now the question becomes, will it pay off? We'll find out when they go green. Paul?
Well, Mario Andretti currently running 19th. He is 1 lap down from this man, the leader. Car number 4, Tom Sneva. Second place at 43 laps is Rick Mears. Kevin Kogan sits in 3rd. Al Unser Jr. is in 4th. Pancho Carter 5th. Bobby Rahal 6th. Michael Andretti 7th. Al Unser Sr. is now 8th. Let's go back into the garage area. Here's Bruce Jenner.
You were mentioning earlier in this piece on the bumps that there were some bolts that were actually shearing up because of the vibrations built up in the car. Now, there are 4 bolts that actually hold the engine onto the cockpit area. This is one of them right here. Now, these are the ones that the cars have been actually having trouble with. They've been vibrating so bad that the bolt has been actually starting to pull out and break the housing that is holding it to the cockpit. The cars, it's not something that is that dangerous, because probably something like this will give you a lot of warning. The car is really going to start to feel loose. It's not going to just shear off all of a sudden and the car break apart. But it is something that's going to be a major factor on this bumpy course for our IndyCar drivers here today. Paul?
Thank you, Bruce Jenner. Clearly a factor here. When you break those 4 bolts, then you got a 2-piece race car, and you can't go very fast with that. Rick Mears currently in 2nd place, still under the yellow, though. The pace car begins to pick up the pace right now as we are ready to come back to the green flag in the Michigan 500 with 44 laps complete. This yellow when Phil Kruger spun and then got it back under control, didn't touch anything, and headed down into the pit area. So now Nick Finoro with the green flag. We come back to racing, and there is the leader, Tom Sneva. He is back down on the serial behind several cars. That's Garza and Scotty Brayton just in front of him, but he takes care of them with quick work. At least it's care of Brayton. Now sets his sight on Garza, but remember, that white car, number 4, is currently the leader.
Yes, it is, and you must also remember...
Look at this fight. Rick Mears for 3rd place as little Al Unser comes around him. That's It's part of the family there, Bobby.
Yes, it is. And Little Al's been slowly getting faster. He's up there running, looks like, with Kevin Kogan right now.
He's up and challenging Kogan for second place. That's a battle actually for third, but look at there. There's Kevin Kogan setting up high on the circuit. So now we have a three-way fight for second place. The leader is Tom Sneva.
Yep. You've also got Little Al's teammate, Pancho Carter, that's not too far back either.
Well, the Gallus team, Rick Gallus, who owns those cars, has to be a little apprehensive. You never like to see both of your cars running right together. Now, Kogan still runs in second. Then Al Unser Jr. and then Rick Mears. But we'll continue to watch this battle. It is a battle for second place. Here comes Little Al. He's going to make the charge. He comes down the inside. Kevin Kogan slaps the door shut on him.
Boy, didn't leave him any room there to get by, did they?
Sensitive area to do it. Again, that's part of the section of the course that is so very bumpy as they come now past the grandstands, past the high-dollar seats over the mark. It is Kevin Kogan in second, Al Unser Jr. in third, Rick Mears currently running in fourth. Pancho Carter comes up and joins the fight as well. He is running in fifth, so you could throw a blanket over this battle from second on back to fifth place.
Isn't that a pretty good race for 47 laps? I'd say it is.
Here they see the try once again. That's Kevin that comes inside, and because of the slower traffic, Scotty Brayton Company, Little Al has to drop back just a bit.
Well, but he's still passing. I think he's going to stay up near the front right now. Looks like he's got his car handling a lot better than it was yesterday.
Again, it is very early. 48 laps complete in a race that is scheduled to go 250 laps or 500 miles, 150 times around this 2-mile high bank super speedway in the Irish Hills of Michigan.
That's a lot further than people think, Paul. This is a very, very fast racetrack. It's got a very steep turns, very high banking here, and it really puts a lot of strain on the drivers.
Okay, there is Rick Mears, and Pancho Carter. Here is A.J. Foyt around, running alongside Phil Kruger, the fellow that spun just moments ago. So Kruger is down off the pace. That's Jeff Brabham that closes in behind him. A.J. Foyt currently running in 12th place. Remember, he started 33rd.
Well, he's come up a long ways, but he should do that. He's a lot faster than a lot of those guys back there.
Now sitting behind Danny Sullivan and Mario Andretti, who has made the change. And let's keep an eye on Andretti, too, as he takes the high line. It is possible that they've made the change that's going to matter when they change those spark plugs. Andretti is currently just in front of A.J. Foyt. A.J. Foyt, we know, is capable of running at least 202 miles an hour. So if Andretti continues to stay out of the picture, then we know that Andretti is apparently at least back on the pace to a degree.
Well, it looks like he must have his 8 cylinders back. But by the same token, Paul, he did lose a lap. And he may not have it back. In other words, it's not very often that you ever foul a spark plug on a racing engine.
A.J. Foyt sets up Andretti. Let's see if Foyt can get past and continue his charge toward the front. That's Mario Andretti, the red number 3, and of course the all too familiar number 14 of A.J. Foyt. A lot of guys have seen that number 14 in the rearview mirrors and dread it when they see it. Scotty Brayton slowed down there as both Foyt and Andretti come past.
Yeah, Foyt went right back by Mario, which shows that Mario's engine probably still is not running too well.
Apparently a problem. There's A.J. Foyt alongside Dick Simon. Simon pulls high. Foyt cruises on through. So Foyt continuing to work his way up toward the front of the field. Currently being scored officially in 11th place. He started way back in 33rd.
I think we have to agree that Mario's engine's just still not running. Foyt wouldn't drive by Mario that easy if he still had 8 cylinders or a good running engine.
There's A.J. Foyt. He is trying to move his way up to the lead of the race. That lead is currently occupied by Tom Sneva. The second place car is Kevin Kogan. Rick Mears is in third. Al Unser Jr. fourth, and Pancho Carter fifth. We'll be right back. This is Paul Page. We're back at the Michigan 500. Rick Gallus is going to love this. This is a battle for 5th place. His team cars, Pancho Carter, the yellow number 77 machine, Al Unser Jr., the number 7 car. They're fighting it out here in the early going for 5th place, Bobby.
Tooth and toenail, but I'll guarantee it doesn't make the car owner Rick Gallus feel too easy right there to see his cars that close together.
Right now, it's Pancho Carter in 5th place. Our leader is Tom Sneva at 55 laps complete. Rick Mears second, Kogan third, Ray Hall fourth, and currently sitting in 5th place this battle, Pancho Carter, but he is being challenged constantly by Little Al. You were going to get on the two-way radio and talk to Little Al. What would you tell him? You say unks here.
Yeah, well, He's done a good job right now. Tell him don't try any harder than he is, because it's a 500-mile race. 250 laps is a long ways.
That's the emphasis, too. The question of 500 miles, the high banks are a factor. The constant lateral G-forces, some of the cars recording as high as 3 Gs lateral, and the temperature that we expect this afternoon. It's getting hotter. It started at 85 degrees, and it's been climbing since then.
Well, let's remember the hardest thing on these cars, Paul, is the bumps. Excuse me, the worst bumps that we've had in the past due to the winter weather in turn 3. And that's what's really breaking a lot of things on the car. Probably the biggest fear that the drivers have today.
We're watching a fight for 5th place that seems, at least for the time being, to have stabilized itself. Maybe Rick Gallis got on the radio and said, hey, you two, cut it out. Just run together. Pancho, you lead for a while, because right now it's Pancho that is in 5th place. Little Al is in 6th. And look at this. Here comes Dad. That's your brother, Big Al. He's going to come up and fight with Little Al for 6th.
Well, now, that's a surprising thing. That's got to really be exciting. I bet Little Al looks over there and says, my gosh, what's happening now?
We said it in the start. The champion and the kid, Big Al, the defending national PPG champion. Little Al, he has 1 victory in kart. They are currently in a fight now on the racetrack. The fight is for 6th place, and look at this. Here comes Little Al. Move over, Dad.
That's really something. I mean, you know, they're still really racing hard right there, and I'm sure that neither one of them have the boost up, but they're driving very hard.
We'll watch this fight while we tell you that the lead maintains itself in a stable situation right now. The leader is Tom Sneva. 2nd place is Rick Mears. Kevin Kogan is in 3rd place. 4th place is Bobby Rahal. 5th place is Al Unser Sr. at the moment. And Pancho, our 5th place is Pancho Carter. Let's take a look now. There is the leader, Tom Sneva, car number 4. It's the Texaco Star, and he has a substantial lead out in front as he came across the line over the 2nd place car. Almost a full straightaway on 2nd place Rick Mears, who is the only man to have won a 500 this year. And Mears has extra incentive. There's $1 million riding if he can win all 3 500s this year. He's already won 1 at Indianapolis. If he can win this one and go on to Pocono and win there, an extra $1 million. And you'll see that race at Pocono on NBC as well.
You're darn right. And I'll tell you, if it ever happens, it may be the last time, as long as we're ever around, that it will happen. That's a very rare thing to be able to get. It's very elusive.
Yeah, but Al got it. He just got it when it didn't pay any money.
That's the reason it's making it a little bit harder now, the law average.
Here is Tom Sneva. He's out in front. Smooth run for Tom. The Mayer Motor Racing March. This is really the factory march effort. And it's Tyler Alexander and Teddy Mayer getting back into IndyCar racing after being out for a while as the leader comes around back marker Dick Simon and begins to encounter slower traffic again.
Well, it's also Texaco sticking low with Tom, you know. Tom brought Texaco in. They really put together a good team in a heck of a hurry. Those used to be some of the toughest competitors we had to run against. The Mayer, Teddy Mayer and Tyler Alexander. Very good people.
Tom Sneva leads the Michigan 500. Rick Mears is in 2nd place. Kogan continues in 3rd. Bobby Rahal is in 4th. Pancho Carter is in 5th. Of the top 5, 4 of them have won IndyCar races. Only the 2nd machine, or 3rd place machine of Kevin Kogan, has not yet won an IndyCar race. This is Tom Sneva. He holds the track record here. There you see it, 211.3 miles an hour. And you see him as he bounces over those bumps going into 3. A fact
here because of the bumps, so the cars just simply will last longer. And I really don't think Tom's that type. He's more the guy that wants to go. It's just flat out go, and maybe it'll finish.
Tom Sneva, as we watch him in the lead here, we talk about the draft on a super speedway. The stock cars will get right behind one another. You can't really get exactly behind somebody in an Indy car.
Well, it does work. You get a draft in most any car, you just don't get as much with a Speedway car with an Indy car as you do with a stock car, Paul. But you really can get one quite a ways back because, remember, they're very aerodynamically designed cars, so a little bit of draft is a big deal.
Tom Sneva, his record here in the Michigan 500-mile race, not too good. He's in front right now. He has done very well in qualifying, but he has not come through at the finish of a 500 miles. Tom Sneva, the leader. 2nd place is Rick Mears. 3rd place is Kevin Kogan. 4th place is Bobby Rahal. And 5th place is Pancho Carter. Now, let's go down to Tom Sneva's pit. Here's Gary Gerald. Gary?
Well, Paul, we're standing by down here with the crew. We just saw them suddenly spring to life. They've got the hoses and the tires up on the wall. It would appear that they are expecting Sneva to come in for a stop. Now, we'll try to confirm that for you. We had the yellow not too long ago. We don't know whether Sneva made a stop at that particular time or not.
65 laps down, 250 scheduled. Average speed right now for Sneva, our leader, 165.707 miles an hour. The average speed, just a bit because of yellow flags. We had a couple of flash fires in the pits. You saw Ed Pinn's fire caused him to go out of contention, out of the race, in fact. Another fire occurred on the number 40 car, Chip Ganassi. Just a flash fire, but just enough to cause some burns to Butch Meyer, who is, in truth, Louis Meyer III. He is the grandson of the three-time Indianapolis 500-mile race winner, Louis Meyer, and they have taken him to the hospital with second-degree burns. We'll give you an update on that if we find out any more information. Tom Sneva is the leader. Rick Mears still lies in second. Kevin Kogan still in third.
Well, still a good race. Back a little bit, but Tom is easily leading the race and easily controlling it right now. And I think it's mostly because Rick is allowing it to happen. Neither one should be pushing very hard. Tom is pushing just far enough to stay ahead of Rick Mears with his mirrors. And he probably dials the boost back just as much as he can.
There goes Sneva past Sullivan.
That's a lap, you know. It puts another lap on Sullivan, whatever he was before.
There gives you a comparison, too, of the performance quotient in this sport. The last race was won by Sullivan, and he won with a big lead. And now he is well down in the field as Tom Sneva does what he does so very well. He works his way through traffic. Derek Daly, the next man to have been passed by Sneva. Now he sits back, and Daly will have to contend with Kevin Kogan. So Tom Sneva out in front of the Michigan 500 in his car number 4.
If Tom doesn't have any breakage problems, he's really handling quite well now.
Tom Sneva leads. Second place is Rick Mears. Kevin Kogan continues his ride in third place. Fourth is Bobby Rahal. Carter is in fifth. We'll be back right after this. This is Paul Page with Bobby Unser, Bruce Jenner, and Gary Gerould. We're back live at the Michigan 500. Bobby Rahal, you're looking at him there, car number 5. He is currently in third place. Chasing him is Kevin Kogan, currently running in fourth place. And they have been battling for the past several laps. We're looking right now at the fight just resolving itself for third. Up in front of this 500-mile race is still Tom Sneva. In second place is Rick Mears, and look how close that interval is. It was a half a second coming to the line. And now Rick Mears comes around Bettenhausen's car, and they have nothing to separate them from a fight. This will be a fight for the lead. It is Sneva out front, the number 6 car of Rick Mears in second.
Yeah, that's a very close fight. And, of course, I think what Rick is doing is trying to close the gap up a little bit in anticipation of a fuel stop not too far away, so he doesn't lose too much in case he has a bad stop for some reason.
When you make a stop, you really don't want to lose sight of the leader at any time if possible. 74 laps right now, the distance of the race.
I'm sure that Rick is not interested in leading right now because he'd just turn up the boost if he wanted to and go right on by. And if Tom didn't turn up the boost, he couldn't stop him. But I think what it is, it's pit stop time, not too far away, and this is Rick's way of saying, hey, I'm going to be even with you no matter what.
169 miles an hour, the average speed of the race to this point. Talk about pit stops, Bobby Unser. Some of the crews say they could get 2 miles to the gallon here, go 40 laps without making a pit stop. That seems like it's stretching.
To get 2 miles to the gallon here, you have to turn your boost down about 44, 45 inches.
There's little Al. He was into the pits and out very quickly, but you mentioned that stops were coming. Al Unser Jr. makes a quick stop into the pits.
There's Michael Andretti in now, too.
Michael Andretti stops. Let's go down to Bruce Jenner. Bruce?
Well, it looks like Rick Mears is going to be coming in just about 1 lap. They are getting all ready. Roger Penske's got his crew ready. So under the green, he may be pitting in just a few laps. Paul?
Bruce Jenner will be there. As they prepare for stops now, several of the cars begin to roll in. They are not factors in the fight for the front. Jeff Brabham, Michael Andretti comes in. You saw Al Unser Jr. was in. Rick Mears on the backstretch. Accelerating, due any time now. A yellow at this moment would be most opportune. Something happening up in turn 4. Car number 58. That's Phil Kruger again. Second time in turn 4. Bobby?
Well, he's been lucky.
Look at this. Look at this. Here we see as Rahal comes through. The course was completely obliterated, and Rahal will pit.
That's 2 spins without hitting anything. That's not too bad. But, of course, that's going to make it ideal. Now, remember, little Al just stopped under the green, too.
Peter Parrott, the crew chief, waits at the right front wheel. We mentioned this. Here is Rick Mears making his stop. Roberto Guerrero comes down off the jacks. making his stop. Remember, his engine didn't start right at the first call at this race. The leader, Tom Sneva, makes his stop. They all appear routine, Bobby.
Well, Rick's out first, it would appear like, so he may take the lead over Tom Sneva just from the pits.
There is Kevin Kogan as that car stalls. They're trying to get Kevin going. Kevin Kogan finally gets it under power, comes out. Scotty Brayton comes alongside. And back into the action is Tom Sneva. Unser Sr. This seems a little casual. Bruce, what's going on?
Well, right now, it looked like he came in for a routine pit stop. Unser Sr. He came in, stopped, absolutely no trouble, and all of a sudden, the car seemed to light up. He's staying inside the car. You can see an awful lot of smoke coming out of the back end of it. They're trying to look underneath it right now to see what the problem is. There's no flames. It's just smoke. They've shut the engine down. They've got it up on the jacks. This could be it. He's shaking his head no inside the car. He just cannot quite believe it. But they're going to take the top off, and they're going to take a closer look at it. So that looked like it may be it for Big Al.
That's got to be pretty serious, Paul, because those guys aren't even hurrying. That'd be a serious thing.
Serious problem when you have it in the Penske team, though. Big Al really hasn't had the best of seasons this year, Bob. What's been the problem? It's good equipment.
Well, it is good equipment, but sometimes you just have bad years for so many reasons that it isn't even worth talking about all of them. And just like whatever he's having a problem with right now, which obviously looks like something in the engine department is burning up, and that just shouldn't happen, especially with Roger Penske's team.
With the yellow flag out, Tom Sneva is the leader. The pace cars are out, trying to get the field under control. The yellow as a result of Phil Kruger's spin. Again, no contact for Phil Kruger, but when that happened, he threw an awful lot of dirt and dust up on the course, and now the card emergency vehicles are out there. They're going to try to get the course a little cleaner. You don't want to run 200 through a gravel pit.
No, you sure don't. And I don't know how Phil Kruger can spin 2 times without hitting anything, but boy, better start fixing that car just a little bit.
So Bobby Rahal currently runs in 3rd place. Let's go back. We mentioned Phil Kruger's spin. We have an unmanned camera on position down there in that end of the course. We look at it now as we see Kruger is the black car down on the inside, way low, Bobby. Loses it down onto the grass. And fortunately, because this course is so wide, 73 feet of asphalt, including the apron, and then all that grass, had plenty of opportunity to get away.
I'll tell you, without a good racetrack, it would have been a heck of a crash there.
There's Tom Sneva. He's the leader. Rick Mears is 2nd under the yellow. Rahal is 3rd. Kevin Kogan is in 4th place, and Pancho Carter is in 5th. Now, let's go to Bill McAdee at our studios in New York. This is Paul Page with Bobby Unser, Bruce Jenner, and Gary Gerald. We're back live right over Bobby Rahal's shoulder at the Michigan 500. Under the yellow flag, we currently have 82 laps complete. Tom Sneva leads. Rick Mears is in 2nd place. This is the view from the 3rd place car, looking up to Rick Mears. Rick Mears' teammate has a serious problem. Let's go to Al Unser Sr.'s pits and Bruce Jenner.
All right, Paul, here's a report on Al Unser Sr. He came into the pits. He has a radiator problem. Obviously, it's a very, very hot day here today, and we had some cooling problems. So they replaced the radiator. They fixed it. They just replaced all the water in it, but they just restarted the engine, and it hasn't been running more than 30 seconds, and immediately you can see the water coming right out of the top of the cooling system here. So an unfortunate break. The heat seems to be playing a factor here for Al Unser Sr. I know the car is awfully hot, and I'm sure Al Unser is just as hot inside because he is the current national champion. How frustrating to be sitting here in the pits. Paul?
It's awful hard to sit still, Bruce, when everybody else is going around.
It looks like he's got a broken cylinder head is what it looks like, Paul, and that isn't going to be a fixable thing, I'm sad to say.
More bad news for Al Unser Sr. The leader is Tom Sneva. There you see him. He did a most interesting thing during the practice here. He ran the practice at 206 miles an hour without a wing on the car. We asked him, why would you do it?
Well, we did it hopefully to gain an advantage. You know, everybody's got similar horsepower, so one way to gain an advantage is try to reduce the drag, and one way to reduce the drag is take the wing off. We went out, we ran good, but I had a little trouble convincing the mechanics to work with me on it because it didn't look right, and made the owners a little nervous when you're out there on their $200,000 piece of equipment with not a complete line of body stuff.
You have to understand the mechanics' point of view, though. Their complaint was only that it didn't look right, but they didn't have any place to lay their tools when they were working on it.
Well, you know, it does make a nice little workbench back there to lay your tools on.
It sure does. Tom Sneva, currently our leader under yellow. The crew's just finishing now, working up in the fourth turn where Phil Kruger sprayed a lot of debris, and Bobby Unser, Kruger's crew, reports that he now says the car's pushing a little bit, and they want to change the front wing and get it to stick. That was definitely 2 pushes that we saw.
Well, it looked like the rear end was pushing, though, didn't it? It's the one that was coming around on him.
83 laps of 250, 500 miles, the scheduled distance. Tom Sneva leads, then Rick. Bobby Rahal with the kart cam on board. Kevin Kogan now in fourth. In fifth place is Pancho Carter. They are under yellow, and the lead serial, Bobby, now as it comes back to green, will be broken up. There's some slower cars sitting right behind the pace car.
Well, it's going to make, it's really going to make what looks like a very exciting race right there, but really the leaders are far back in the pack. But you just watch all the passing that goes on when it goes green this time.
Boy, there's a tremendous view of that grandstand, and it is full to capacity. Let's go back to the Penske pits. Here's Bruce Jenner.
Well, Roger, Al is out right now, but Rick has still been running very strong all day long.
Well, I think that we've got to run a long race here. This is 250 laps. I think that we're able to run with Sneva. It was obvious in the last segment. Rahal looks pretty strong, and Kevin Kogan. So most of these fellows are just trying to run smooth without getting into trouble, and hopefully we'll be around to run as hard as we can the last 50 miles.
Quickly, what happened to Al's car?
Well, it looks like he might have picked something up in the radiator, and we lost the water. It's what it looks like to me. We can't quite tell yet.
Now, Roger Penske, you own the track, but you have not won a Michigan 500.
Well, maybe this will be my day, I hope.
All right, we're going green again. Good luck.
We watch his driver, Rick Mears, currently in second place as the green flag flies. And with 84 laps done, we start the 85th lap under the green flag once again. There's Tom Sneva. He comes down below some slower cars, and you're watching Rick and Rahal closing right in behind. So first, second, and third running right together, and Rahal running a good challenge and comes around Rick Mears. There you see it live as he comes around Mears and Al Holbert. Mears was in second place. Holbert was a position down in the field, and now it's Bobby Rahal charging after Tom Sneva.
That was a good pass by Bobby Rahal. I'm glad we had that on the cam. I think it really looks nice.
You don't think Rick got caught sleeping there? He just got bottled up, didn't he?
He did just get bottled up, and he probably doesn't have his boost turned up. He probably turned way down.
So now Bobby Rahal across the stripe in the tri-oval. That's Rick Mears behind, and out in front, that car is Tom Sneva. He's chasing Sneva through the first turn. Bobby Unser, you've driven this many times. This is one tough course. You saw the view from the driver. That gets your blood going again?
Yes, it does. You see all that shaking going on? It reminds me how nice it is in this air-conditioned booth we're sitting in right now.
There's the leaders. That's Bobby Rahal now in second place. It's Tom Sneva that you saw just seconds ago out in front. Rahal has won his only super speedway race right here at Michigan International, though not in the Michigan 500. Tom Sneva, he's not won a Michigan 500. He is absolutely devastating on the short tracks. You saw our coverage at the start of the season of the Phoenix 150. In fact, it seems every time you say Phoenix 150, you also end up saying Tom Sneva. He's really good at it. He's now showing tremendous expertise running here at Michigan, but Bobby Rahal is closing in.
Well, he's not only closing in. Looks like he's going to pass him right now. Well, he didn't, but he's working on hard. Probably tell him Tom to speed it up a little bit.
Look at there. Look at there. Right over the right-hand shoulder. Look at his hands work. That gives you an idea of how much work the driver really does. As again, he closes up behind Sneva's march. Tries him. Comes alongside. Can he keep the momentum rolling? Rahal across the line. Rahal still in first. Can Rahal get away with it? He's on the harder part of the course, a little slower, and it looks like Sneva's going to get bottled up behind some slow traffic, and Rahal's got clear sailing now. Sneva goes back to second.
Well, he may not stay there.
Yellow out.
Turned yellow, so.
And there's the cause of the yellow. The number 40 car, that's Chip Ganassi. And the left front gone. Remember earlier, he left the pits and his left rear came off. Now look at this.
They've got some sort of bad trouble, Paul, because they've changed more tires in that race car today that should have run a 1,000-mile race by now.
The deities of the tires just not treating Chip Ganassi well today.
No, but he has other problems that are causing the tires to go bad. Every time he's been in, they've been changing one tire or the other.
So we're back under yellow at the Michigan 500. Bobby Rahal, our camera. camera car, currently running right out in front. Tom Sneva is in second. We'll be back. We're back at the Michigan 500 now. This was just a few seconds ago, just before we left you. You saw the yellow light come on there. Bobby Rahal was the leader. The yellow is on. That car, no factor, up over to the right. Now watch the right side of your screen as Rahal goes down the backstretch. There's the second place car, Tom Sneva, rolls past, and Bobby says, no, 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 no. Get back there, Tommy, where you belong. Here's the other view of it. This is outside the car. There, Tom, he came off the throttle and rolled past. I don't think that was intentional, but the officials, Bobby Unser, are talking about it now to see if he passed under the yellow.
Well, he didn't really do it. All it was a pass and a regroup back in the same time. So there's really nothing wrong about it. That's Bobby Rahal's up on it. He's saying, hey, get back there, boy. You don't belong up here yet.
And that'll happen, too. Rahal sees the yellow, comes out of the throttle, and then Sneva comes out. Maybe his car just rolls a little
that
further.
isn't considered a pass until you come by the start-finish line.
We're back live right now under the yellow flag. First place is Bobby Rahal. 91 laps are complete. Tom Sneva is second. Rick Mears third. Kogan fourth. Carter is fifth. Michael Andretti is sitting in sixth, and his big mentor of the season, a little Al Unser, because they're both second-generation drivers, sitting right behind him in seventh place. You're looking at him now. That's Carter, and then there's Michael Andretti, and then there's Al Unser Jr. They've had a tremendous fight throughout the race right here in this position. Let's go now to Chip Ganassi's pits, part of the Patrick Racing team. Here's Gary Gerald.
Well, a lot of people are scratching their heads down here because this time Chip cut down a tire. We talked with one of the Goodyear officials. They say they've now had 6 incidents where a tire has been cut down. They're convinced that there's some debris somewhere on the racetrack that hasn't been spotted yet by observers. They're very concerned. They, of course, want to see the track cleaned up. 6 incidents thus far of tires totally cut down. You saw the problem with Chip Ganassi. Paul?
Of course, the tires that they're using here, we saw in the live coverage at the Meadowlands that they were using the brand new radial racing tire. But as they come back to the ovals, they come back to the bias ply tire. It is more susceptible to being cut down, the expression, as it runs over something. And it doesn't have to be much, Bobby. It could just be a little bolt when you're hitting it at 200 miles an hour.
In fact, the tires are just very, very, very thin, and there's really not much rubber on them, so it doesn't take hardly anything to run over. And that's the reason so many track inspections.
Well, you can bet that right now the kart radio circuit, all those observers scattered all around the course. There's no section of the course uncovered. In fact, every few hundred feet
Roger Penske even uses that big jet engine to blow the debris off the track. That Frenchman called debris, I think it is.
So now at the Michigan 500, the pace car heads into the pit area. Kart says the course is clear, and we are back to racing at the Michigan 500. Bobby Rahal leading Tom Sneva down to the line. That's Rick Mears in third. 1, 2, and 3 right in front of the serial. A nice even acceleration. They maintain their interval as Rahal leads them off into the first turn.
That was a nice fair start. That was almost too legitimate to be a good race driver.
At the Michigan 500, Bobby Unser inimitable. There goes Pancho Carter as he's on the roll, and Al Unser comes around Michael Andretti as they deal with traffic. That's the battle we were talking about. 5th, 6th, and 7th. Al Unser moved around 6th, got around little Andretti on the start. So, Bobby, what do you want to say about starts now?
Well, you got well, that was really a clear over number 2 turn, but, you know, they've been battling for a long time right in there. Pancho Carter and little Al on the same team. It's been a good battle for a long time.
We saw it earlier right here. Now it's Pancho Carter as he comes around Danny Sullivan. Little Al tries to come down. Danny drops down a bit, and little Al has to slow her down and get behind it.
He dropped down a little too far, didn't he?
Michael Andretti now sitting up high, has a little faster line, but slower traffic be blocking him than Sullivan and Fox. Now little Andretti comes by on the inside. He picks up a position and moves into 6th place, and now little Al has to drop back. Look at this. Look at this seesaw.
Well, that's good racing. You know, they say that these cars don't put on races like stock cars, and I'm going to tell you, that's a pretty nice race right there.
The real factor there, though, is Danny Sullivan. They keep getting caught up alongside of him, and they can't get good running room. As Tom Sneva around Rahal and into first place. Tom Sneva picks up the lead once again. Problem on the course over in turn 4. A car smacks the wall and smacks it hard. Phil Kruger, this is the 3rd time in the 4th turn, and this time it's serious. Kruger not moving in the cockpit. There's the safety crew, very carefully. No fire. The car badly damaged. Phil Kruger appears, from our point of view, to be unconscious. Now we're going to be careful. We'll wait until we hear what the safety people say. You see the teamwork. The first official, his job is simply to make sure that driver is okay and protect him. He gets his head up right. They're concerned about anything, cervical spine, possible breaks in the neck or anywhere down in the spinal column. The yellow flag, of course, out as the field comes down. The car, you see, has actually come to a stop on the entrance to the pit road, so they'll have to be extraordinarily careful as they come in to stop. There's cart one, that vehicle. There's the doctor. That's Dr. Dave Crippen, already on the scene now.
Obviously a very bad wreck, Paul. Look how bad the car's torn up.
Car heavily damaged. We saw Kruger twice before spin here in the fourth turn. He told his crew that the front end was having a problem. They changed the wing to try and correct it. Then this.
Well, I think we could see this is, I think, his fourth time he's been in trouble since the race started, and that's kind of sad. He's just obviously not working good today, and it's terrible to pay for it that way.
The car heavily damaged. The yellow flag is out. We are 96 laps in to the Michigan 500. Tom Sneva, there he is. Car number 4 is the leader. Bobby Rahal in second place. We've just had a yellow. This shouldn't be a time when any of the leaders would come into the pits, but again, the matter of strategy comes into play.
The biggest problem right now is going to be, and you're not seeing it right now, now you're starting to see where Tom is. See, look at all the stuff on the racetrack. That's all race car pieces. Now, those drivers have to miss every one of those pieces, or it's potentially a flat tire. There's Tom coming into the pits right now.
Our leader, Tom Sneva, comes down under the yellow. The strategy beginning to play. And so Bobby Rahal will assume the lead, and it looks like it's going to be a very long cleanup time. Now, we should also point out, Bobby's called your attention as we watch Tom Sneva making his stop. Rahal assumes the lead. This is under the yellow, of course, that there's a tremendous number of pieces laying out on the race course. And because of that, though, they're going to have to clean it. Those pieces are there, though, because they're designed to come off the car. It helps release energy when the car gets into the wall. There comes Tony Bettenhausen through the accident scene. You see how very careful they pick their way through. And now the jaws of life are out as they begin to cut Phil Kruger out of his car. Dr. Crippen is there. Steve Alvey, one of the other kart doctors, the kart rescue team. Steve Edwards, the safety director, they're all right there. He's got the best possible help he can get.
Well, he does. And, you know, I still have a lot of hope for him not being too bad, because he was moving a little bit before the car came to a stop, and then he kind of, it's like he kind of lost it for a while within himself, Paul. But the car just wrecks so bad, it's a little hard to tell. The compartment where the driver sits doesn't look all that bad from here, though.
The other point, too, is that when you have this, you take your time. There's no hurry. You want to get him out just as easy as you can. If he's injured, you don't want to hurt him anymore. That's from your days. It used to be that a guy'd get hurt more by the way they yanked him out of the car than by what actually happened in the accident.
A lot of times you get hurt, they just grab a hold of him and pull you out. And if your legs were stuck down below, they just got all crumpled up getting out of there.
There's Phil Kruger. You're looking at it in replay as the car slid off the wall. It obviously got heavy into the wall with the left side. The engine almost completely broken away, and Kruger slumps down in the cockpit, appears to be unconscious. The good news is that the front end looks like it's in pretty good shape. It may not be serious injuries to his feet, at least. That's always a concern. So Phil Kruger causes a yellow. They're working to rescue him from his car. We'll be back with more of the Michigan 500. This is Paul Page with Bobby Unser, Gary Gerald, and Bruce Jenner. We are live at the Michigan 500. You are looking at what once was a multi-thousand-dollar racing car. It is now just so much junk. It belonged to Phil Kruger. He is now in this ambulance. He is conscious, they are reporting from the scene, and they are transporting him to the track hospital here at Michigan International Speedway. Of course, the yellow flag is out. Bobby Rahal is currently the leader. Second place as a result of scrambling during the yellow was Roberto Guerrero. Now, let's go down to Gary Gerald. Gary?
Well, Paul, we're back behind the grandstand in the garage area. We've tracked down Al Unser, who is on his motorbike here, moving around. We had a report a few moments ago, Al, that possibly you had been requested as a relief driver, that A.J. Foyt was experiencing cramps or some discomfort. Is that correct, and will you take a spot in his car?
No, it is correct. He did come and ask me, but there's too many conflicts, I guess, with the sponsors, and everybody kind of asked me not to. So, but it really makes me proud that Foyt would ask me, because it's something that you just don't give your car to anybody.
Well, obviously, you've been out of the race for a short period of time. Now we've got the problem with Phil Kruger up on the wall. We've had several drivers who've cut down tires today. What about the racing conditions that you experienced this afternoon?
Well, everything seemed to be okay with me. I made a couple of mistakes in the pits, and my radios were not working, and they couldn't talk to me. But other than that, everything, you know, I don't think things are that bad out there. But you can always run over something and cut a tire, and then experience the trouble.
Okay, well, we appreciate your time and the report there, and possibly driving for Foyt. We understand now that the ambulance has brought Phil Kruger back into the hospital directly behind us. We'll be trying to update information on his condition as soon as it's available. Paul.
Ambulance now in. Phil Kruger being unloaded. Report again was that he was conscious. There is an oxygen bottle there on the gurney between his legs. You can see he's moving, so he's conscious. They're administering oxygen, and Phil Kruger goes into the track hospital here. Extremely efficient hospital where they will begin to evaluate and then decide whether or not transportation onto the next hospital should be done to the Foot Hospital in Jackson, nearby the racetrack here. Now, about the safety, the emergency equipment that is used in CART. This year, CART has added even more of a safety margin by acquiring 2 brand new vehicles, 2 very, very special ambulances. Here's Gary Gerald.
The dramatic advances in the sophistication of the IndyCar equipment that we see on the racetrack has been matched behind the scenes as well, relating to the safety equipment that's now available to deal with potential emergency situations. The man largely responsible is CART's medical director, Dr. Stephen Olvey. Dr. Olvey, it would seem that with this facility now, you have virtually all the facilities that you would utilize in a hospital emergency room.
Well, it's almost true, Gary, not quite. We don't have laboratory and x-ray, but essentially we can begin treatment of the patient and get several things done before we ever reach the emergency room. For example, with this equipment here, we can do invasive blood pressure monitoring. This is a more accurate way than the conventional cuff on the arm system, and is much more accurate in trauma patients. This is a conventional monitor and defibrillator in case of cardiac arrest and to follow the heart rhythm of the patient. And behind here is a very small ventilator that can actually be carried to the car in the event that we have a prolonged extrication of a driver. This is a much more efficient way to breathe for the patient than the bag and mask business that people have often seen on TV doctor shows.
Now, it would seem that you have at your disposal the most sophisticated medical equipment of any type of motorsports competition anywhere in the world.
Well, as far as we know, that's true. There are some cities in Europe with similar equipment that they use in their trauma systems, but to our knowledge, nothing quite like this exists in the United States.
And in addition to this most impressive facility itself, I understand now that you have added another unit, which we find coming up outside at this time.
Well, Gary, we're real happy also to have for our use from the Horton Company this little MR10 unit. And what this is for is in difficult to get to places such as the pit area where you can't get a large ambulance, we can station this and get this into places that we otherwise are not able to. And on this we have advanced life support equipment as well as the little stretcher or gurney to take a patient or victim to the larger Horton unit. So we feel that with the addition of this to our fleet, we've made it much safer for those in the pit area.
And of course, it goes without saying that Steve Edwards, Dr. Olvey, all of the staff certainly hope that they never have to push any of this equipment into use. But it is comforting for drivers and crews to know that it's now available at every venue where the IndyCars race.
Well, unfortunately, some of that equipment brought into play today. As you see them continuing to work now, they've moved Phil Kruger's wrecked machine off of the racetrack. He is in the track hospital. We'll give you an update just as fast as it comes, but the first indication was that he was conscious. A tremendous cleanup to be done here. Here is the last of Kruger's 3 incidents on the course as he ricocheted off the wall. There's the safety crew rapidly to him. The second man comes in to protect against fire, and the rescue effort finally accomplished. Good, efficient, quick work by the CART safety crews here, despite the fact that they really prefer to spend their day sitting by the side watching just like you and I. A.J. Foyt. Al Unser will not drive for him. He is suffering from cramps. He is currently in 7th place. And whether or not somebody will come in and take over for A.J. is a question right now. He's had some tremendously bad luck at the Michigan 500. You've seen it here on NBC. This was the first bad accident, the first Michigan 500. Against the wall, his right arm badly shattered. His doctor said he wouldn't drive again. He came right back next year. And then Hector Rabake, trying to avoid a slower car, turned right into A.J. Foyt on a restart. And Foyt, once again at Michigan, was pinned in a race car. But the tenacity of this guy, he is back and running once again. He started in 33rd place. He is currently in 7th. We are under the yellow at the Michigan 500. The accident involving Phil Kruger. You can see that the cleanup that is going on here is an extensive cleanup. Work in the hospital being done with Phil Kruger as well. Bobby Rahal under the yellow leads. 2nd place is Rick Mears. 3rd place Tom Sneva. 4th place Kevin Kogan. 5th place Al Unser Jr. Now to Bill McAtee in New York. We're back live at the Michigan 500. This is Paul Page with Bobby Unser, Bruce Jenner, Gary Gerald. You're taking a look at Phil Kruger's machine, a look that the safety teams and his crew are taking as well. Badly battered. Phil Kruger conscious when he went to the hospital, in the hospital now. So Phil Kruger in a serious accident here at Michigan International. Let's get the update word now and go to the pits and Gary Gerald.
Paul, here's Dr. Olvey, who's just come out of the emergency hospital compound here now. What can you tell us about Phil's condition?
Yeah, Gary, Phil is awake and talking. He's alert. He knows he's at Michigan. He was unconscious at the scene, so we'll be sending him into the hospital for observation. He'll also have to have some x-rays of his legs because he took a pretty good bump on the leg. Can't tell anything right now, but he looks like he got away with some minor injuries.
Well, certainly an encouraging report from down here at the hospital compound. Thank you, Dr. Olvey. Back to you, Paul.
Thank you, Gary. We all certainly wish the best to Phil Kruger as he makes that trip to the hospital. It does, though, speak for the safety on these machines. Rick Mears, the 2nd place car. Bobby Rahal is the leader of the race at the moment. Phil Kruger's car, without question, is out of the race, and we'll try to update you on the rest of them momentarily. Now, this car, Rick Mears, the 2nd place machine, belongs to Roger Penske. There he is. He's talking right now to Rick Mears. He takes over the control of Rick's car, while Derek Walker takes over the control of Al's car. This is a remarkable man, one of the key people in kart racing. The name means business. And to Roger Penske, the business is racing. Whether it be with Rick Mears and their multi-million-dollar IndyCar operation, or as it was, Roger Penske, the sports car driver in the early 60s, when he was the Sports Illustrated Driver of the Year. And then suddenly, Roger Penske retired as a driver. Now, the business was business.
Back in 1964, I had to make a decision whether to be a businessman or a race driver. I guess I felt that I'd gone to Lehigh to college and I had a background somewhat in business, and that there was an opportunity to become a Chevrolet dealer in Philadelphia. I'd done some work with Chevrolet in the engineering area along with Jim Hall, and they said that if I'd go work for a dealer and could prove myself, I one day could be a dealer. So based on that, I decided at the end of 64, which I was working for a Chevrolet dealer at that time, to give up racing, and 3 months later I was able to qualify as a dealer, which to me was certainly the right move.
Roger Penske has been successful in everything he does, from his car dealerships through his performance companies and on to his latest big investment in Hertz Penske truck leasing. His close attention to detail means that Penske will perform. The man is a 24-hour dynamo. To relax, he races at the same driving high-pressure pace. The two-car Penske team would be a full-time job for an ordinary man.
It's really tough because you must give both drivers the same kind of a car, because if you bring 2 cars to the race and one is a second-class car, you might as well not bring it. You have to have an equal opportunity with the cars. Then it's up to the drivers. And more important, if you just look at basic statistics, that having 2 chances in 33 or 2 chances in 24 you have a much better opportunity to win, and that's what we're here for.
He wants to win. He goes at it in a way that is very competitive, and in his own way, a very demanding way. It's something that you very seldom find in a car owner that expects the team to operate as he operates at full percentage all the time. He's something else to run for. I think he's a very heads-up car owner.
Even though we're two teams, there's not a first or a second team. It's two complete teams. Everybody seems to think there's a 1 and 2 a lot of times. In Formula One and Grand Prix, they do that a lot. But in Roger's team, it's a complete effort on both teams. And we work together as a team when we're in testing or when we're in practice. And we share ideas, and it's, the same old saying, two heads are better than one. One person can test one thing while one person's testing another, and it just gets you that far along that much quicker. But then when the green flag drops, it's every man for himself.
Penske, the man is a powerhouse who spends his time traveling from coast to coast, fathering his business deals. Another spare time interest is Michigan International Speedway. He bought the multipurpose race facility in May of 1973 and started a constant program of racing and improvements. More than $1 million has been spent on the track since 1977. 4 years ago, he added the Michigan 500 to the schedule. Today, it's a sellout. Each time the fans and crews return, Roger Penske has a new surprise at the track. For 1984, the new chalets just off of Turn 4 were added, and he has also reopened the Michigan International Road Course to IMSA racing this year. Penske.
We are ready now for a green flag at the Michigan 500 as Roger Penske keeps track of his second-place machine, Bobby Rahal. The leader brings the field back to green at the Michigan 500. They've completed the cleanup as a result of Kruger's accident. We'll update you on that report, Kruger's condition, as soon as we can. The last condition report was he's conscious, was going to be transported to a local hospital. There's the leader, Bobby Rahal, car number 5. Rick Mears is in second place. Tom Sneva is in third. But Bobby Rahal should be within 10 laps of having to make a pit stop. He last did it on lap 77. This is the 109th lap. Taking a look now, there is Rick Mears. He is currently running in second place, just back a bit, the number 4 machine of Tom Sneva. So right now, the question is, how soon will Rahal stop? Sneva has stopped at lap 97. We're now at lap 110, Bobby.
Well, again, I'm wondering if that was a good decision on Rahal's part. I think that everybody that needed fuel to go longer would have stopped then. We'll just have to wait and see what happens from it.
Rick Mears now in third place as Sneva moves out around Rick Mears, chasing Bobby Rahal. So first is Rahal, second is Sneva, Rick Mears is third. Mears and Sneva stopped at approximately the same time during the yellow, about the 97th lap. Rahal stopped much earlier and did not come in during this last long yellow. Rick Mears currently running in third place. In fourth place right now, again, we've got the kids running together. Michael Andretti and Little Al. There is Pancho Carter. He's currently running in seventh place. So we are back to racing action at the Michigan 500 after that long cleanup for the accident involving Phil Kruger. Carter in seventh.
Well, I just hope they have that racetrack all clean, and it looks like so far they do, because I haven't seen a flat tire for a while now.
Here's A.J. Foyt. Now the story here, he called in, he wanted some relief. They asked Unser to do it. He couldn't do it. Contractual obligations, I guess, is the answer. A.J. Foyt said he was suffering for some cramps. Then just seconds ago, he came through the pits, and it looked, Bobby, like he threw off his belts. And we take a look at that. Here he is coming down the pit road just a few seconds ago. Watch it, Bob.
That's what it looked like to me, is that he was getting ready to come in for relief.
Well, he threw something out of the car.
He threw something out. That's something we couldn't see without the camera, Paul.
I think that's a piece of padding of some sort, or maybe something from the accident ago.
Well, it looked like a piece of padding. Probably padding to hold him tight into the car.
So
he's cramping, so they obviously had something they had to get out of it.
A.J. Foyt is definitely uncomfortable. That's Gary Bettenhausen that he's running with at the moment. But a car that has been occupied on the road courses by Emerson Fittipaldi. Michael Andretti wiggles the car as he comes into the pit. He was in a fight in the fifth position, but now he comes in for a stop, Bobby.
Well, it looks like so far that it's a routine stop. They're getting tires and fuel, and that's all.
Andretti's car makes the stop. That gives the advantage to Al Unser Jr. There you see little Al
who got around Pancho Carter and picked up 4th place. So now Al Unser Jr. in 4th. Here's the top order. Rahal leads. Sneva 2nd. Rick Mears is now moved back into 4th place as little Al comes around. And in 5th place is Pancho Carter. So some good fighting back at the front.
Yes, it is. Little Al just passed Rick. I know those yellow cars are hard for us to tell sometimes, but that was Rick Mears, and I'm a little bit surprised that Rick would be slowing down that much.
There's Bobby Rahal. He leads this race at the moment. Let's go down to his pit. Here's Bruce Jenner.
With me right now is Jim Truman, car owner for the leading car right now, Bobby Rahal. And I guess it's appropriate to use the phrase, don't count your chickens before they hatch, because just 2 weeks ago at Cleveland, you had a nice lead with just a few laps to go and the car broke.
Well, most of us have been at it a long time, and until you see the checker, you don't even have the bag in your hand. Somebody's liable to take it.
But is this the position we'd want to be in at this point in the race?
We're going to run up front as long as it's easy. We intended to follow, but the lap times were such that we felt we could run a little faster. We got a little cloud cover, so it was easier on the tires. And we made a decision to not come into the last yellow because we felt we could take a little bit of risk and run a little harder on half tanks, frankly, and try and get a lead.
Okay, thanks. Paul?
Jim Truman, one of the nicest men in the sport. As we've got a car to the wall, Chet Phillip up against the wall, cuts off the right rear. So another yellow flag comes out. Phillip tags the wall good with the right side of the car. Safety crews are rolling. Phillip stays in the car.
Well, it's not nearly as bad as that last one, Paul. There's another one with a blown engine. Looks like Guerrero, isn't it? Looks like Guerrero car.
Stan Fox, I believe that is, Bobby.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So you get the yellow cars and I get this one for you. A problem there might not be blowing. He picks up power. So now Bobby Rahal should be able to make a stop. The leader, Bobby Rahal, should be able to make a stop at this time. In fact, there he is. He's on the pit road. Bobby Rahal. This yellow really is a terrific time for him. You're seeing at the onboard camera. Now you look from the top of the grandstand.
We have all three of the top leaders in
Let's go down to Bruce Jenner. Bruce?
We just talked to Jim Truman a second ago saying they didn't come in under the yellow because they thought they were hoping for a break and running on low fuel. Bobby Rahal came in, takes on 3 tires and fuel, and screams out of the pit. So a smart move for Rahal and the Jim Truman team.
Well, if Jim Truman was planning strategy, it certainly worked for him. He went very long in this fuel stop, really took a chance not going for fuel during the Kruger yellow, and here comes another yellow when Phillip gets into the wall.
That's too much of a gamble. It really isn't worth it sometimes.
There's Chet Phillip out of the car. He's walking around. He's okay.
Those deals work out, Paul. You always look like a hero, but too many times they don't. And then you drop a lap, and that really hurts.
So the good report now that Chet Phillip walks over to the safety truck. The car sits there on the course. Let's go back and see if we can see what happened now that got Chet Phillip into the position he's in. That was Gary Bentonhausen low. Looks like he just pushed up into the wall.
Well, it looked like he had some smoke coming out first. Now, I don't know if that was from the tire or the engine, but nonetheless, didn't hit the wall nearly as hard as we thought he might have had, you know.
At least he didn't get the front end now. That's the dangerous thing.
That's right. That's the hard spot. But he hit it with a right shot. Now you see, it looks almost like he's got a lot of oil smoke there, but it's a little hard to tell.
There were 2 cars running with him. The right rear comes off right away. That's good, though. Again, that's energy being released, so it doesn't ripple through to the driver. And looks like a pretty close call for somebody, a red car down there. And now get this. With all of this
with all that, he missed it. They missed it.
With all the scrambling, Bobby, here is your leader, the man who started in last place, A.J. Foyt Jr. of Houston, Texas.
Well, that was good. That's a very strange thing, but it's very good. I'm glad to see the Texas that far up in front, and I hope he has a chance to stay there now.
Here's Stan Fox. Take a look at that. What do you think that is?
Well, that's definitely a blown engine. Doesn't make any difference. It's coming right out the turbocharger, probably blown piston.
So Stan Fox would have been black flag had he not come in. So now with A.J. Foyt in the lead, let's go to the pits. Here's Gary.
Well, we're in A.J. Foyt's pit, Paul. This is what A.J. threw out of the car a short time ago. It's a piece of padding, and as you know, he had some surgery on his back recently, and he's had this padding in here to try to make him more comfortable in the cockpit, but apparently, Jim Gilmore, he wasn't comfortable.
No, A.J. has more in there. It's kind of surrounding his back and his sides, and it's so warm in there, A.J. said he just couldn't stand it. So, as you men noticed when he came in the pits and threw that out, that
that was the reason for it. It was supporting one side of it. And you have your helmet laced to the side of the car because of the G's. So that also caused the problem. He threw that out.
Now, it's kind of ironic. We heard the report that you wanted to get Al Unser Sr. to drive the car. Now you're in the lead.
Now we're in the lead. But I guess what bothered me the most, Al Sr. would have driven for us to replace AJ, and Roger wouldn't allow it because he's concerned about Miller High Life objecting. From our point of view, I think we would have benefited Miller, Al Sr., Roger, and AJ and the whole team because this is sportsmanship. And I think when you deny something like that, it's lack of sportsmanship. That's really the way I see it. If it was reversed, we would have done just the opposite.
Interesting observation from Jill Gilmore, who's considered one of the true sportsmen of the sport. Paul, his observations on the requested change to get Al Unser Sr. in the cockpit.
Well, just the other day, we were clowning around with A.J. Foyt, and he stood up and dropped off his driver's suit and showed the scars from some surgery he's had on that back, so it's apparently causing a problem for A.J. Foyt right now. Well, as we're under the yellow again with A.J. Foyt as our leader, let's go back and take a look at what's happened in the kart season to this date. So that's the season through Milwaukee. Of course, they went on to Portland where Al Unser Jr. won his first race at the Meadowlands. Mario Andretti won and Danny Sullivan won at the Burke Lakefront Airport in Cleveland. The pace car now begins to accelerate and separate itself from the front of the field because we're ready for the green flag once again. A.J. Foyt, there he is. Car number 14 is leading the Michigan 500, a race at which he has had absolutely terrible luck, but he looks good now.
Boy, he's had it rough all day, too, because he's obviously not feeling good. The cockpit, you know, Foyt's a big person, and the cockpit on these cars is very small, and had this back problems, and he's just going through all kinds of heck today, Paul.
He's certainly been in a wonderful mood since he's been here in Michigan, though. He even took the fact that he was disqualified and moved to the back really quite well and with good humor. So here he comes now down to the line. The pace car decides that they still need a little bit more cleanup, and they are going to keep the car out on the race course for yet another lap under the yellow. 123 laps of the race. We're nearing the halfway point of 250 miles.
Yes, and you know, it's a nice thing to notice is we have 25 cars that I'm counting that are still in the race. Now that, I'm not giving a report on who's out, but I'll guarantee you that's a lot halfway through the race. That's the most I think we've ever had in the race at halfway point.
Especially when you consider that with the first Michigan 500, we were really concerned with attrition. In fact, there were jokes. What do you do if there's only one car left? This is a hot day. Temperatures approaching the 90s now. And attrition we thought would be a factor. Again, the crews are doing it.
They are. Every year it's getting better, and every year the race has been getting better here. This is going to become one of the finest races in the United States in just a short amount of time, I think.
There's the view from Bobby Rahall's car. Our average speed, just 135.5 miles an hour. Foyt leads. Tom Sneva is second. Al Unser Jr. is in third. Bobby, you were talking about him heating the tires.
Well, they're cleaning them off. The tires pick up like a sponge. They pick up the other rubber on the track. And so what they're doing is they circle or move back and forth like this, and they just scrub it off the extra rubber.
There's what's going to be a fight for second. It's Sneva, Little Al, and Rahal. They are all right together. And the fight will be for second place. The bright Texas orange car, of course, is A.J. Foyt, that famous number 14. The pace picks up. The pace car is off. Foyt comes back to speed, and once again, we're racing at Michigan International. There's Foyt as he ducks low. Tom Sneva closes right in behind him. Little Al comes in there as well. Bobby Rahal stays down low. The fight now is for the lead as it's Sneva high and A.J. Foyt down as they come to the backstretch. They have to go single file through here. It's a very rough backstretch. Over that bump, Sneva closes right in. Little Al is sitting there watching in third place.
That's a good race right now. At the halfway point, I'd say you don't see racing much better than that.
Sneva drops back just a bit. Little Al takes the opportunity to close in. As Foyt pulls away, Little Al drops in right behind Sneva. There's the battle across the line again. It's the fight for second. A.J. begins to pull away just a bit now. Bobby Rahal is sitting back there as well. Pancho Carter is also in that fight. So all of those cars running behind are sitting right there on the lead. Here is Little Al. Comes by Sneva and into second.
You know, he's working the lower end of the track awfully good. His car's been sticking down there all day, Paul, and it's good for the end of the race.
Sneva tries a run on him on the backstretch, but Little Al has more momentum to carry him in through the high banks of the third and fourth turn, and he has to drop back. Pancho Carter, now in fourth, closes up to do battle with Tom Sneva. Carter definitely in this fight. What a wonderful story that is. Look at them side by side. A drag race, Sneva and Carter. Carter didn't have a ride. Tom Coy, we have a problem. Car reported up high in turn 2. No indication of it. Michael Andretti off the pace. That's the report. Andretti off the pace, slows down substantially. So Michael Andretti slowing down. The yellow flag is out. Apparently, he got a little sideways up in turn 2. Michael Andretti, they brought the yellow flag out for him. Got it back under control, though.
Yeah, it would appear like maybe he had some engine problems or maybe a transmission problem. But almost like an engine problem because he's just barely
looks like a flat left front there, Bobby. Left front tire looks definitely flat.
Yes, it is. Well, maybe there's some of that debris on the track that we thought they might have. Look at that rear wing shake as he goes around there.
It gives you an idea of how much vibration in that car. So A.J. Foyt can hold on to the lead. Little Al comes up to second place. Tom Sneva third. Pancho Carter fourth. So a very short run of green flag time, and then we have another yellow flag at the Michigan 500. We'll be back with more from Michigan right after this. We're back live at the Michigan 500. Yellow flag out. A.J. Foyt is the leader. The yellow came out because of an incident up in the first and second turn involving Michael Andretti. Now, here was the view from the outside of the track. It looks like the left front went flat.
Well, it obviously did, and it just smoked it.
And he pulled down low and had a lot of smoke pouring off of that tire. Now, we also caught that view from Bobby Rahal's car. That's Andretti just ahead. Watch this one, Bobby.
Now, that's the one right there. It had to be worrying Bobby Rahal just a little bit because he doesn't know how serious this is, nor does he know where the smoke's coming from for sure.
What's it like to the guy that's driving the car? It's really got to be throwing him around.
Well, it isn't so bad on the front. The left front would be the nicest of all tires to go flat. That really wasn't so bad. What he does is just try to get his guarantee of no wreck by just slowly going down to the left, you see.
The nicest of all tires going flat. We're under yellow. They're checking for debris. Let's go to the Penske pits now. Gary?
Southall, we're down here with Roger Penske. And Roger, a bit earlier, Jim Gilmore was talking about A.J. Foyt's discomfort and problems, the request for Al Unser Sr. to get in the car. He was a little bit disappointed because he thought from a sportsmanship standpoint it might have been great if Al had been able to drive the car. Do you have a response to that?
Well, evidently, Jim might have talked to Al. I don't know that. I was down here during the running of the race, and someone came down here and said, can Al drive A.J.'s car? He's got a cramp. Well, I'm right in the middle of running the race. I talked to Al. He said, I really don't want to run it. You know, it's difficult for a driver to say he doesn't want to run it in front of somebody else. You know that, Gary. That's just the way it is. But he had practice in the car, and I think that I understand Jim, made a comment it's better for the sport. Believe me, A.J.'s car was disqualified after qualifying, and the promoter's option here got him in the race. So we want to see him race as much as anybody else, and I'm just disappointed that Jim would take that kind of a attitude towards us here. We want to race. If Al wants to drive the car, he can, and he knows it. And I think that Jim shouldn't look a little deeper into it.
So then there's really no conflict from a sponsor standpoint. It just sounds like some misinformation.
Well, I think so. We certainly didn't even think about sponsor conflicts. I think that's ridiculous. That's a comment that he made out of the blue. I don't think it's fair. It's the middle of the race, and I guess that maybe you should talk to Al and see, because basically a driver that steps up in a car, he's driven this car. This is a high-speed race. We don't know what the setup is. Evidently, they feel that Al should have jumped in the car. Believe me, if Al wants to drive the car, he can. I'm disappointed in Gilmore myself.
Thank you, Roger. Well, Paul, we've heard the story from both ends of the pits, from Jim Gilmore and now Roger Penske.
Gary, I think you may get Al Unser in that car yet. A.J. Foyt leads, car number 14, still reporting that he's having some problems with cramps. Again, surgery on his back not too long ago. He threw out some of the padding, you saw that, so maybe he'll settle down and be ready to run now. Hopefully that solved the problem. Phil Kruger, we still have no update report. Last was he was on his way to the hospital. He was conscious, though. They were going to check his legs. Chet Phillip, he took his trip to the hospital. They checked him and they let him go. Perhaps we'll be able to talk with Chet Phillip in just a bit. We are under yellow here. Let's run it down. A.J. Foyt is first. Al Unser Jr. second. Sneva third. Pancho Carter is fourth. Bobby Rahal is fifth. Rick Mears is sixth. Gordon Johncock is seventh. Kevin Kogan is eighth. Roberto Guerrero is ninth. And Mario Andretti is 10th. 1 lap down behind the leader. The first 9 cars are on the leader lap. We are at lap 131. We are over 250 miles. We are beyond halfway.
Look at the good field of cars on the screen, Paul. That's beautiful. Over halfway in the race, and you've got a full field.
All lined up and ready to go as A.J. Foyt picks up the pace. Al Unser Jr. All the experience in the world and a new guy will be coming to the green flag as we're ready to go racing once again. There they are. The green flag is out. Sneva is in third. He's going to try low. It's going to be 3 abreast into the first turn. And it looks like Sneva got the jump as he just sails on past both of them. Foyt, formerly first, drops back to third, but allows second, and Sneva leads.
That Sneva caught a good draft off the 2 cars and got by both of them. That was a real good start for Sneva.
That's almost short track stuff. We mentioned how good he is there. Here comes Foyt again. Let's see if he can do it down on the inside. Nope, not enough momentum. Has to just brush onto the brakes. Little Al starts to challenge Sneva now. There's the battle for the lead.
Well, that's going to be a pretty good race here. Looks like we've got a little bit of determination between the 2 of them now.
Boy, it's always a pretty good race, you say, whenever an Unser is involved. And it is indeed, Pat. Here comes Little Al. Can he hold on? Running the low line into the first turn. Can he keep it down there and hold Sneva off there? Awful close. Sneva has to drop back just a bit, and Little Al comes into the lead. Now, there's Sneva. Look at him use the draft off the back of Little Al's car. Foyt sitting back just a bit, and Sneva makes the run now. In the third turn, can Al hold him off? He does. Little Al holds him off and maintains the lead. Good move.
That's a good race. The boy's doing a good job today.
A.J. Foyt sits back, watches the action. He was the leader until the flag came out. He is certainly still in the fight. Pancho Carter is in fourth, fighting Bobby Rahal for fourth place right now, just behind this battle. Tom Sneva now comes around Little Al, and Sneva picks up the lead. A tremendous fight. The top 5 positions are kicking each other constantly here.
Never seen that halfway through this race, have we, Paul?
Absolutely phenomenal. A real tribute.
Look at Foyt standing there. Look at Foyt.
Here comes Little Al again. This is like the last lap of the race. Little Al tries him low. Sneva holds him off. Foyt is the interested spectator, a dedicated interest.
He's staying right in there, though.
As A.J. rides in third. If there's a cramp there, it isn't affecting him. And look right behind that. There is the battle for fourth place. Pancho Carter and Bobby Rahal. You are looking at better than 250 miles, first through fifth, and they are all running right together.
Looks like you could throw a blanket over them, Paul.
Most extraordinary for the IndyCars. It's the battle for fourth. There's the battle for first. Tom Sneva. Little Al makes his run again, drops out of the draft, comes alongside, tries to keep Tommy high. The higher you are, the slower you have to go.
Little Al's working good on the bottom. If you remember, we've been watching him most of the day.
Sneva really had the fast line on that entry, and Little Al held him off.
Well, Little Al's working better on the bottom, and of course, it really should be, towards the end of the race, should be the best place.
Bobby Rahal moves around A.J. Foyt, picks up third place now. Foyt drops back to fourth.
They've been averaging about 1 lead change every lap. That doesn't happen in IndyCar racing that often.
Rick Mears comes up to join this battle, first through sixth now. There is Sneva. Here comes Little Al again. Boy, this guy's a racer. I wonder where he gets that.
Has to come from his dad. He's doing a good job.
There hasn't been any question about Little Al since the first time he ever stepped in any kind of racing machinery. Everything he's got near, he wins in. And, of course, he's had, despite his tender young age, quite a few years at the wheel of a race car. Right now, he's being held off by one of the best in the business, Tom Sneva. But he's sure keeping Sneva worried.
Well, he's going to keep him worried, but Thomas certainly has a lot of experience over Little Al, and I'm sure a lot of what Little Al is doing now is learning a lot more than you could ever believe.
137 laps are complete, 250 laps, the scheduled distance of 500 miles. Average speed of the race, 132 miles an hour. A.J. Foyt, he is now falling back a bit more in fourth place. We mentioned that, but he is beginning to be challenged by Pancho Carter and Rick Mears. So the battle is for fourth. It's a 3-car fight as Mears comes up to take on Carter. And Rick Mears comes around Carter, picks up fifth place. Pancho gets bottled up behind a slower car, and now Rick takes a roll on Foyt. As they come past Tony Bettenhausen, Rick and Foyt, the drag race on the backstretch. It's only supposed to be one lane wide here, and you can see that Foyt's bouncing around a little bit as Rick Mears comes around Foyt, and Rick Mears moves now into fourth place.
That was quite a good pass by Rick. That was all on the outside, and I was a little bit squeegee about that thing going at the end of the back straightaway because it's kind of narrow with that bump there.
Foyt drops way low coming through the tri-oval. Now Pancho Carter makes the run, and Foyt appears to be off of the pace as the yellow flag comes out. Yellow flag comes out. There it is. There's the reason for the yellow flag. We've had our problems with debris here this afternoon, and this is the reason for the yellow now. Now, CART's going to have to do some resolution and try to figure out exactly where everyone fell in line with the yellow. The debris, by the way, came off of Johnny Rutherford's car, the number 82 car. We'll be back with more of the Michigan 500 right after this. This is Paul Page with Bobby Unser, Bruce Jenner, and Gary Gerald. We are back at the Michigan 500. We are live. Tom Sneva is our leader with 141 laps complete. Ray Hall second, A.J. Foyt third, Pancho Carter fourth, Gordon Johncock is fifth. We are under the yellow. Car number 82, Gary Bettenhausen's car, threw some debris off. They're cleaning the course now. Let's go back to the track hospital area. Here is Bruce Jenner.
Thank you, Paul. With a report on Chet Phillip, and with me, Dr. Kramer, one of the doctors on duty. And how is Chet doing?
He's doing fine now. He's in good condition. He's just suffered a contusion to his left leg. He's in fine condition. He'll be out in just a little while.
All right, so he's in there just relaxing. He's just taking. It's probably cooler in there. It's very hot down here in the pits, Paul.
Thank you, Bruce Jenner. Good news on Chet Phillip. Of course, we saw him walk over to the rescue vehicle, so that indicated probably right then that he was in pretty good shape. But his car lost the right rear when he got up into the wall. Tom Sneva leads now at the Michigan 500. He has never won. Bobby Rahal has not won this race as well. The Rahal won his first and only super speedway race here at Michigan. And A.J. Foyt was sitting down in third place, but he popped into the pits just a second ago during that interview, top off on the fuel. And that will move his position just slightly, but we are under the yellow, so it will not have a drastic effect on him. The yellow again for debris thrown off of a car, and Bobby, debris seems to be now the story of the event. We're having more cars with debris coming off of them, and we'll discuss that as this race goes on. Tom Sneva leads, Rahal second, Foyt third, Carter fourth, Johncock fifth. We'll be back. We're back live with 144 laps complete. There is a sense of excitement developing here at the Michigan 500. Most of it's being caused by A.J. Foyt, currently in third. Here's Bruce Jenner.
Well, Paul, what happened on the last yellow when A.J. Foyt was in the lead? You could see the crowd right behind me. Well, when A.J. was out in front, every time they would go by, the crowd would get a standing ovation. They would start to wave his hands, and it was just very exciting. A.J. Foyt may be having cramps in the car, but he's loving it because he started waving back. Let's go back to Paul.
The excitement builds again as Tom Sneva, the leader. Green flag. He is back racing once again. Rahal is second, though Sneva got a good jump out there, and Tom Sneva leads at the Michigan 500. Rahal second. Foyt is third, but they are spread out at the front serial, not the close battling that we saw a few seconds ago.
Well, some of the cars that are really part of our leading group got stuck back in some of the lap cars, Paul, so they're going to be separated just for a little while.
There's Pancho Carter. He is in fourth place. He moves past Danny Sullivan. Sullivan is off the pace of the leaders. Pancho Carter, number 77. Again, a good ride for him. He picks up the ride from Tom Gloy, who is running in the Trans Am, doing well. Look at him dart and dive as Johncock comes under Sullivan. And look way down there as Rick is down below Little Al, and Foyt's in there. What a fight!
That was a heck of a hard pass. That was 3 and 4 breaths for a little while, back and forth there.
Right about here is where they let their breath back out.
I know. I bet they were all saying, ooh, what do we do now?
Tremendous fighting at the Michigan 500.
Rick Mears was on the infield almost for a while.
Foyt, Carter, Johncock, Mears, they are all battling. It's 4 cars. The battle is for third place. Sneva leads. Rahal is second. The fight's for third. And right now it looks like Gordy is the guy with it.
Well, if this race continues like this will have to go down as one of the best ones we've seen in an awful long time.
Nice thing about it is we've seen an awful lot of names up at the front of the field. That's always nice in racing. Johncock, Mears, Little Al, Foyt, they are all in there fighting, and the fight is for third, though they begin to spring out a bit now.
Well, that was
Little Al gets into the side, and Al, an incredible accident, both cars flipping. Another serious accident at the Michigan 500. 2 cars together. Al Unser Jr. and Chip Ganassi is what it appeared to be. I'll hesitate because there is no visibility now in the backstretch. Bobby.
That looked awfully bad. I hope that wasn't as serious as it looked like.
Going to the help of one of the drivers. You saw it happen live right there. No movement at that car. I believe that is Chip Ganassi. There is the first crew there on the scene. Second crew there. still trouble with visibility, will hesitate. We don't want to indicate anything until we see it and know it. You're looking at it as we are. Al Unser Jr., Chip Ganassi, the two cars that are there. Visibility is terrible. Report is that Al Unser Jr. looks okay. Bobby, let's look at it again. They come onto the backstretch. Ganassi looks like he gets off the wall and collects Little Al.
Yes, he definitely broke something, and just take Little Al right down with him. But he obviously, Chip broke something on his car because the car just made an immediate turn.
And they hit the road. I think really you've just seen the top of the car coming off. That
yes, because
the car flips. But that's the nasty one as Ganassi hits the fence, catches the barrier. Car was in the air, looked like the top of the car slammed into the barrier.
For Chip's car, it was a very bad wreck. It looks like Little Al's car stayed right side up through the whole thing, as near as I can tell, Paul.
This has been a nasty section of the Michigan Speedway course. We'll talk about that in a moment. See, he just turns. Apparently something breaks. Al collects it.
Yes, it did. There was no place for Al to go, and see, Chip is just continuing going down and just holding Little Al there, and there's nothing either driver can do anything about.
Watch this. This will give us an idea, too, of that's just the top coming off the car. But as they get across that ditch, Chip gets high into the air and slams into the barrier, oscillates in the air. Tremendous accident. The car badly damaged, literally cut in half there.
That's a bad accident, Paul.
This is the same place Mike Hiss and Merle Bettenhausen, I believe, got together back in the same area of the track. Look at the debris strewn all over the race course. There's Chip Ganassi. Saw him last night. He said, hey, mention my name a bit more. I just got a second place. Let's hope that Chip is okay. We certainly didn't want to mention his name in this way, as involved in an accident here in what appears to be a serious one at the Michigan 500. Al Unser Jr., who is also running up there in that wonderful battle at the top of the serial. There he is. He's been in one other accident this year at the Phoenix race, but for the most part, he tends to avoid accidents, and this one didn't seem that he had any choice at all. We'll look at it again. This is in regular speed. They come on the backstretch. Little Al didn't have any choice at all.
He saw it coming, Paul, and he even tried to turn to the left. He saw Chip coming, and he turned to the left to avoid it, but there's just no way. It was a total blockage.
It looked, too, like there were 3 or 4 other guys that are probably still holding their breath as a result of that. There is Derek Daly from Dublin, Ireland. His car stalled on the circuit. It looks to be ready to go. He just simply wants to get a tow and get that engine restarted. We are, of course, under the yellow. We have 150 laps complete under the yellow. Tom Sneva is our leader. Our second place car is Bobby Rahal. Pancho Carter is now third. Gordon Johncock is fourth. Rick Mears in sixth place, and seventh is A.J. Foyt. Roberto Guerrero behind him. Eighth is Kevin Kogan. Ninth, Mario Andretti. And Danny Angayas is in 10th. We're under yellow. We'll be back with more and hopefully an update on the information on this accident at the Michigan 500. This is Paul Page with Bobby Unser, Gary Gerald, Bruce Jenner. We are back under yellow, the Michigan 500. In that ambulance, Chip Ganassi, one of the two involved in an accident on the backstretch. A tremendous accident. The car's, Chip's at least, way up in the air. But the indications were, here's Al Unser Jr. Now, he's been talking with his rescuers. He's been spending plenty of time with them, and he appears to be all right. Certainly not life-threatened. There you see, he's even slightly argumentative. He's directing his own rescue operation. The indications are that he has possibly a leg injury, and he is talking obviously in some discomfort. Looks like they have his left leg totally splinted there. So Al Unser Jr. being loaded into the ambulance. There's one of the machines, Al Unser Jr.'s. You can see again the tremendous forces that these cars take, and yet that carbon fiber cockpit tends to protect them. This was Chip Ganassi's ambulance just a few moments ago as they loaded him on board. He appeared to be the more serious of the two cars involved because it got in the air. As you can see, he moving as well. And so hopefully very shortly we will be able to give you a good report on both of these drivers. We'll wait, of course, for the facts and a report from the doctors. Now, we're back live once again, and you're looking over at the track hospital. This is Chip Ganassi's ambulance. All the care in the world, and there is plenty of expert care here available to him. Dr. David Crippen is the man, or that looks like Steve Alvey, the man in the blue fireproof uniform. He is the regular cart physician. He's right there with him. They use 2 or 3 regular doctors today at Steve Alvey and David Crippen. They use them in part because they know the drivers so well and the drivers trust them. So into the hospital goes Chip Ganassi. There is his car, the number 40 machine. They now have it on the other side of the barrier. That's not where it came to originally. It stayed out on the outside of the barrier. They've moved it over there. The engine is completely torn away, Bobby.
Not much left of that car, Paul. I just think it's amazing that we saw Chip move, and we know the little Al's definitely moving, and it's just amazing that they can have wrecks. That's how far safety has gone. Have wrecks of such a magnitude, and yet the drivers come out as good as they do. I know some things go wrong sometimes, but that's more than amazing. Racing has come a long ways.
This is certainly Chip Ganassi's most serious accident, his first big one. Also the first one for Al Unser Jr. in IndyCar racing. And here is Peter Halsmer. The car belongs to Dan Gurney. They have been constantly in the fight here today, though running off the leader's serial. There is Dan Gurney on the outside of the wall, and he seems happy with the performance of his young driver. Dan Gurney is a remarkable man in IndyCar racing, and his effort is one that he hopes does very well. Here's his story. Racing machinery from the United Kingdom has dominated the kart scene from the beginning. Roger Penske builds his cars in Poole, England. The Lola is English. The Primus and the Wildcat are U.S. built, but they use the English Cosworth engine. The only true American effort is guided by this man, Daniel Sexton Gurney.
We've always felt that we don't want to just be a consumer, and part of this racing is the unknown as to whether or not you'd be able to come up with something new for the next race that would put you ahead of the field, so to speak. So actually the car that is dominant right now, the March, is gets a lot of what it has as a result of money and time that's been spent in Grand Prix racing. And they borrowed that technology, applied it to Indianapolis cars. And so we find ourselves somewhat behind. It happens to be that they have built a very nice car and that the whole herd has stampeded in that direction. It doesn't mean that we can't still correct that difficulty.
Gurney has always been a man with a vision. A former Formula One driver, he raced a Buick-powered rear-engine car at Indianapolis back when the rear engine was experimental. He talked Colin Chapman into bringing Jimmy Clark to Indianapolis to win the Great 500, and that started the move to English racing equipment. He helped start the trend to temporary circuits like the Meadowlands as a founder of the Long Beach Grand Prix in the mid-70s. He was a founder of CART, and he is the power behind all American racers.
I've always felt that it was an advantage to have a team owner, manager that has been a driver in the past, because whenever I come in and I have anything to relate and I can't quite get my point across, when you're talking to someone who's driven and has been there and knows all about it, it really does make a difference.
He knows how to drive the race car and also work on it, so you don't fool him very often.
In the early 70s, the Gurney Eagle was the car in Indy racing. In 1975, a Dan Gurney Eagle powered by an American Meyer-Drake engine won the Indianapolis 500. Since then, the British have overwhelmed the kart racing scene. But Gurney is dreaming again. His current vision is numbered 98 and is a newly born Eagle hatched with an American stock-based Pontiac engine. All American. At the Long Beach race with Michael Chandler at the wheel, it fared well, running a strong second until it failed. Because of the strong road racing background in the team, most feel that the Eagle will spread its wings again in victory over a road course. But the engine that helps the road course is also its Achilles heel. It has not been reliable.
Well, I agree that that's been the general consensus, but in our case this year we have yet to have our first engine-related problem, and I'd say that's doggone good. And we feel that it is reliable. Of course, it depends on how much you abuse it, but the same goes for the Cosworth. We've seen them break many times this season. So it's always a guessing game in racing. You're trying to reach that limit. That's what happens.
Dan Gurney, one of the truly great men of the sport with a long history as a driver and as an owner. The yellow flag is out. Nick Finoro, the starter, a weary man this afternoon. He's held that yellow much more than he likes to. Bobby, you just heard a bit of an update.
Well, it looks like we don't know everything so far. It looks like Al Jr.'s got a left leg that's probably broken, and that isn't serious compared, believe me. And it's going to be all right, though, it sounds like. And we don't know about Chip at the moment.
Still waiting for a report then on Chip Ganassi. We are still under the yellow. Tom Sneva is our leader. Ray Hall second, Carter third, John Cock fourth. We'll be back. This is Paul Page. We are back live at the Michigan 500. 159 laps are complete. We are under yellow as a result of that accident that you saw involving Chip Ganassi and Al Unser Jr. The current order under the yellow: Sneva, Ray Hall, Carter, John Cock, then Rick Mears, Roberto Guerrero, Kevin Kogan, Mario Andretti, A.J. Foyt, and Danny Sullivan. There's a great deal more racing left to go on the IndyCar PPG Series this year. There is, in fact, yet almost half the season to go. Let's look at what is upcoming. After the Michigan 500, the PPG IndyCar World Series travels across Lake Michigan to the most beautiful natural terrain road course in the United States, Road America at Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. Last year, it was the return of Mario Andretti. He was absolutely dominant in his Lola T700. And then on to Pocono, the honeymoon haven of the Pocono Mountains, for the third jewel in racing's Triple Crown, the Pocono 500. Last year, it was Bill Whittington spinning in front of our camera car and slamming the wall several times. And then, as they came back to green, Desiree Wilson started a melee that sent everyone running for cover. Fortunately, no one was injured. And Teo Fabi went on to take the checkered flag. From there, it's to the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, north of Columbus, Ohio. Last year, it was Teo Fabi, the bandit, once again, proving that his machine was better on the road course than anyone else, and Fabi took the victory. Then a new race on the circuit at Montreal at Saint-Air, a 300-kilometer event, the first time kart will perform in Canada. Then back to Michigan International Speedway. Last year, it was Rick Mears chasing our pole sitter, Bobby Rahal. Rick Mears running the fastest IndyCar race in history in the Michigan 200. This year, he'll have his hands full. Then on to Phoenix International for the Phoenix 150. Last year, Teo Fabi battled with Mario Andretti in the early going, and Teo Fabi won the race. But Al Unser Sr. won the national championship with the race at Phoenix. Then the kart season moves on to the California hills, Laguna Seca, the beautiful wine country in Northern California near Monterey. Last year, again, it was Teo Fabi. The season wraps up on the 11th of November at Caesars Palace in Las Vegas, the final race of the season. Last year, it was a fight between John Paul Jr. and Mario Andretti. In the closing laps of the race, when Andretti overcooked his brakes, John Paul Jr. pushed his way past and into the lead. But Andretti came right back, getting past John Paul and going on to the checkered flags and victory at the Caesars Palace Grand Prix. Make sure you have a chance to visit with the IndyCars of Kart when they come to your area. Of course, you'll see the Pocono 500 and Caesars Palace race here on NBC. We are back racing. Ray Hall leads coming out of the yellow flag. Tom Sneva in second. Pancho Carter in third. Gordon Johncock running now in fourth place as we are back green and running in the Michigan 500. They've just come back to green, completed the first lap under the green.
Well, we've got another big crowd up there again, Paul, and really racing hard for the front again. Been like this all day.
It has been one tremendous afternoon. We're still waiting for a total report on the conditions of both drivers, little Al Unser and Chip Ganassi in that accident. But we're watching Bobby Rahal carrying that NBC kart cam over his right shoulder, and the fight developing between Sneva and Pancho Carter for second place, with Gordon Johncock sitting in fourth.
Yes, the Rick Mears is still back there. He'd be coming up. He made a pit stop just before they went green, so he's back in the pack, in the serial pack, but he'll be up there before too long, Paul.
Here comes Carter down underneath Tom Sneva, and Carter moves into second place. I can't get over what a nice deal this is for Carter, who was without a ride, picks this car up as an opportunity when Tom Gloyd takes over the points lead in the Trans Am, and now look at him, second place.
That's a pretty good ride for him.
It is. Now here comes Gordon Johncock going to try Tom Sneva. Sneva's got the momentum going in. This is absolutely stupendous. And the thing is, we've watched it all day long.
We have had nothing except for a few laps after the start. It's been a little bit boring. From then on, it's been the best racing we've ever seen.
I know you and I were both surprised as Tom Sneva bounces across the circuit and moves back into second place that they were racing at the first lap. They haven't stopped ever since then.
I think we smoked off some of that stock car racing, Paul, because there's been more passing today than I think I've seen.
There goes John Cock past Carter. This is a battle for second place as John Cock moves into third. Bobby Rahall's taking advantage and moving well out in front. Sneva, then John Cock, then Carter. That's the battle for second place. Carter gets it way high there. Looks like he was pushing into that corner.
Well, when John Cock switched across in front of him, he ruined the air in the front wing, so Pancho probably just lost his front end for a little bit.
Bobby Rahal runs away. Tom Sneva in second, trying to keep Gordon John Cock off. Pancho Carter is now running in third. Roberto Guerrero is back behind this little battle, running in fifth place. Now, let's get an update report on that accident. Go to the hospital. Let's watch John Cock. Just a second, Gary. We hold off. John Cock tries Tom Sneva low, but Sneva holds him on. Gary, can you give us an update?
Well, Paul, a few minutes ago, just before they went green, we had an opportunity at the crash scene in the backstretch to get a few words with Dr. David Crippen. It was a favorable report. He told us that little Al Unser appeared to be in good condition. He was fully conscious, talking with the safety workers. Chip Ganassi was unconscious as they removed him from the car, but he said as they loaded him in the ambulance, he appeared to be regaining consciousness. He thought that was a most favorable sign. It's a preliminary, a sketchy report, but that's from Dr. David Crippen at the accident scene, Paul.
Gary, there is a tribute to the strides and safety they've made on this car. Here comes a machine slowing down on the circuit, not one in contention at the front of the field. Car number 57, that's Spike Gelhausen, as he is off the power and pulls off the race course. He was not running on the front serial at this time. Spike Gelhausen off the course. Bobby Rahal still out in front. Bobby Unser, you're here as a driver expert, but it got very personal for you just a few minutes ago. What's that about it?
Well, it bothered me a lot. I know that, Paul, and you know, my stomach, it was knots then, and they're still not at all up now. And I'm afraid that if I hadn't seen that little Al was moving, I'm afraid I'd probably have just left you guys up here. It really had me scared for a while. That's one of the worst accidents, at least on the television cameras, that I've seen.
Yeah, it's the second time we've seen it this year, too, where a driver and his son, two drivers in the same race, and the son involved in an accident. Mario Andretti drove past the accident of his son Michael at the Meadowlands. Now, this man, Al Unser Jr., in the most serious accident on the backstretch, and this man, Al Unser Sr., is here to watch it. The only thing that might have been a benefit to Al Sr. is maybe he didn't see the accident. I don't know. Maybe it's worse that you don't see it.
Well, and I think it's better that you don't see it. He'll see pictures of it from us later on, but at the same token, I know what Al has to be feeling like. He's seen me getting wrecks like that, and I've, of course, seen him get in them.
But you were indestructible. This is his son.
Yeah, right. I guess you're partially right on that one, too.
At least we have, right now, reports that are more than acceptable on both drivers. And, of course, Gary Gerald, ever present. Gary seems like he's all over the track. We'll keep track of that. Here is Bobby Rahal. He is the leader out in front. That's Dick Simon that he just came around. He's got clear sailing out in front. Tom Sneva's in second place. John Cock is in third. Pancho Carter in fourth. And the battle for the front, for the moment at least, is broken off.
Well, it's a good race. Right behind him, there's a heck of a lot of racing going on. But remember, the guys right behind him, if they want, they just run up and take a swing at him at any time.
There's exactly what you were talking about. Gordon John Cock in third place. The racing right behind that is so good. Pancho Carter in fourth. And Carter has now dropped back just a bit. Let's keep track of a couple of other things here, too. A.J. Foyt, who was running in the lead, complained of the cramps, and now is running back in ninth place. There's Gordon John Cock.
We haven't heard much about Gordon all day in our talking, Paul, but he's really been right there, but not in the leading pack. Well, now he's in the leading pack, but he's really been kind of fast. I think he got a little bit out of phasing in his pit stops for a while.
Gordy, a former winner here at the Michigan 500. Of course, Chip Ganassi, his teammate, that's the other Patrick Carr that was involved in that accident. And last year, Gordy got into the wall and got into it hard, shattered his leg. at this race just 1 year ago.
That's right, Bob. But remember, he was going very fast when he did it. Now, this is one of Gordy's favorite tracks. He likes the track, and he always goes fast here.
So at the Michigan 500, Bobby Rahal leads. You're watching now as here comes Rick Mears. Rick is currently running in 7th place, but that is probably still a comfortable position for him. He's back there mostly as a result of his pit stops, and he is still in contact with the leaders.
Yes, remember, Paul, he just before it went green the last time, he got that last gulp of fuel just to make sure that he had enough to make it as far as he could in case of another yellow.
Back at the front of the field now, here is Bobby Rahal. Rahal, nice smooth ride. Jim Truman's car, you saw it go over that bounce. And we still have a question about how long these cars will survive as they keep bouncing over that. Let's go now back down to the pit area. Here's Bruce Jenner. Bruce?
Well, an update on the conditions of the drivers. Dr. Stephen Olney with the first Al Unser. How's he doing?
Al Unser is basically okay. He does have possible fractures of the lower extremities. We're going to send him to Jackson, Michigan for x-rays. Otherwise, he's fine.
And Chip Ganassi?
Chip has suffered severe head injury and will be airlifted to the University of Michigan Hospital in Ann Arbor. Doesn't appear to have any other severe injuries, but he has had a head injury.
All right, thank you very much for your report. That's it from down here in the pits. Al Unser seems to be okay. Chip Ganassi seems to be a lot more serious.
Bruce, thank you for that report from Dr. Steve Alvey. As we look at first and second, I think we suspected that maybe the car got up and the top of the car did get into the barrier on Ganassi's accident. We'll continue to report for you. Rahal now is under attack from Tom Sneva. Here is Mario Andretti. Andretti, who has stayed with the fight all day and continues to go. Our pole sitter originally has engine problems. He's keeping in there, and he's continuing to kick at him.
Well, he has, and apparently those spark plugs really helped it. And they're looking at how close they're getting again there, Paul. They're moving up on each other, still having a good race, and but maybe the top about 5 guys are still going at it tooth and toenail.
Well, Mario went from the pole way down in the field. They changed his plugs. He went a lap down during that. Now has worked back up to 6th place. There's Mario Andretti. He has not had the best of luck here. Hasn't won on an oval in 4 years now. The last time he won was here, and he's running right now in 6th. At the front of the field, Bobby Rahal being chased by Tom Sneva. The battle moves back to the front as Sneva closes in.
Yes, he is closing in, and
here's the battle between 3rd and 4th place.
They're not very far behind.
And Gordon Johncock right there. Everyone, for the time being, seems more than willing to just keep that separation. There, you see it quite clearly. Roberto Guerrero is right behind Johncock. Now, remember, his day has been confused as well. His engine didn't start when they gave the command, and they went to work on it, finally slid him into his starting position. So we've had one whale of an afternoon and 2 accidents that have taken our breath away.
Well, we've had 2 of them that are, gosh, really among some of the worst that we've seen in a long time. Maybe not the worst, but some of the worst that we've seen.
At least we'll be able to report that little Al is not apparently life-threatened. They say serious head injuries to Chip Ganassi. Now, we continue to watch the Michigan 500. 177 laps are complete. The scheduled distance, of course, 250 laps around this 2-mile circuit, 500 miles. Tom Sneva starts again an attack on Bobby Rahal. The time now begins to run out. These drivers made stops at lap 140, so any time now they are due. Here is another fight developing out here. This is Roberto Guerrero as he comes around Johncock, and Guerrero picks up 4th place.
Isn't that something that a guy like Guerrero has really not had any flat track or high bank track experience at all, and that cat has really been fast all day today.
Roberto Guerrero started driving in Colombia. He drove go-karts, then moved to England into Formula Ford, Formula Super V, up to Formula 1. He's now running in 4th place. Back to the front, Rahal, Sneva, as they work their way through traffic. Sneva seems content to keep the interval.
Well, the interval is really not that much. If you go at that speed, it's just a little bit to be able to get there. And, of course, when you fall back that far, you're really running in clean air. In other words, 2nd place car right now is getting good clean air to his wings. And he's able to take care of his tires, maybe save a little bit of fuel, do the things that he feels are necessary to make a race at the end.
Tom Sneva in a comfortable position, of course. He's won 500-mile races before, though never here. He just came around his teammate, Howdy Holmes, who is also running off the pace as well, out of the top 10. And Sneva does appear content just to sit there. You say content, there's Howdy Holmes, that 41 car. You say content, there is the possibility, too, that he just simply can't catch Rahal.
I doubt that that's true right now. I really don't think so. I think Tom has a big reserve, but I also think that Rahal has a big reserve. And I think that about the lap 225, you're going to see who has the biggest reserve.
The average speed of the race, owing to the several lengthy yellows here, 128.114 miles an hour. 180 laps are complete. Rahal leads, Sneva second. Pancho Carter is third. Roberto Guerrero is fourth. Gordon Johncock is fifth. Andretti Mario is sixth. Rick Mears is seventh. Kevin Kogan is eighth. Foyt is ninth. Michael Andretti is 10th. We'll be back. We're back live at the Michigan 500. We are running at lap 184, and the pit stops are due. It's been almost 40 laps for everybody in the leader serial. This man, Bobby Rahal, actually stopped 44 laps ago. He was able to pick up a bit of fuel economy as a result of running into the yellow. Tom Sneva stopped at the same time. He is currently in second place. The third place car, Roberto Guerrero, stopped at the same time. They all should be coming in. Sneva's crew is here, standing by. Look at him. They're ready for their guy to come in, and he is due in the pits. Rahal should be making a stop at the same time. Now, Bobby Unser, the strategy begins to become apparent. Mario Andretti is in fourth place, but he stopped 9 laps later than everybody in front of him. And in fifth place is Rick Mears, who stopped another 10 laps after that. A.J. Foyt is also in there. Here comes Tom Sneva off of the track, down into the pits. Let's watch as Sneva, the second place car, makes his stop. The clock is on Sneva. Wheel stop, the wheel start. Right side tires being changed. Tom Sneva takes a drink of water. The fuel, you see it gush up into the vent. Sneva down off the jacks. And in just over 16 seconds, 2 tires changed, a full load of fuel, and Sneva is on his way. Rahal now due to stop. There is Jose Garza, the side of the course, apparently stalled, could have run himself out of fuel. And here is Tom Sneva coming back to the action. Now Roberto Guerrero moves up to second place. He and Rahal are both due to stop, and when they do, we're waiting to see if they go yellow with that car. They do go yellow. They go yellow. Rahal picks up an advantage again. And Guerrero as well. They needed this yellow for a stop. They got it as a result of Jose Garza on the backstretch.
That's going to give a lot of guys an advantage. You're going to give Foyt, Mears, Mario, Guerrero, and Rahal a tremendous advantage over Sneva. Really got hurt.
That's the front 5 that are coming in, and coming in too is Bobby Rahal. Bruce Jenner is there and waiting. Bruce?
Bobby Rahal continues to luck out. Maybe 2 weeks ago at Cleveland when he broke with just a few laps to go. Well, his luck has changed. Here he is coming into the pits. He was going to come into the pits in 3 more laps, but with the yellow coming out, he decided to come in under the yellow. The smart move. Comes in on the first lap. Bobby Rahal getting a little refreshment. Looks over here to Jim Truman. Everything seems to be going very well for Bobby Rahal as they put some tire refuel. The cap is off, and Rahal is gone. And another nice break for Bobby Rahal.
A.J. Foyt is in as well. You saw Mario Andretti come in. Routine stops being made for those cars. No problems as Rahal goes back to the action. Here's Andretti's crew going to work. He sits patiently in the car. Tom Sneva out on the race course. You know, they think of Bruce Jenner as an Olympic gold medalist. I think him as one of the finest pit reporters in the business. Good job, Bruiser, as the Mario Andretti comes out on the track. Here comes A.J. Foyt coming off the pit road as well. We are under the yellow, but we are seeing some terrific pit action here in the Michigan 500. Roberto Guerrero, who picked up the lead as a result of that stop by Rahal, now comes into the pit as well. So it is Tom Sneva that runs in front of the serial, and the yellow flag is out at the Michigan 500. The top of the order scrambled as a result of the pit stops. We'll put them back in order, and we'll be back with more live from the Michigan 500 right after this. We're back live at the Michigan 500. Paul Page, Bobby Unser, Bruce Jenner, Gary Gerould. The battle of the pit stops has now been waged once again. And you're looking at the man whose team won it. They haven't won it because they haven't fought it. Rick Mears comes into the pits. He is the leader at the moment, but he is making a stop, and he hit the brakes pretty hard coming in. We watch as Mears, and the way they're looking at that car, Bobby, Jerry Breon leans over the back of the car. Maybe they're worried about want something?
No, I don't. I think that all he's wanting is fuel, and that's all it is. He's got a drink of water and fuel.
Well, he's got it. Rick Mears has fuel. Bobby Rahal has the lead. No problem.
I just don't understand why that they didn't bring Rick in just a tick earlier.
All right, let's take a look at the cars that have fallen by the wayside in the Michigan 500. You saw Ed Pim's pit fire. Steve Chassie had an overheating problem. Al Unser Sr., they tried to change the radiator. It didn't work. Phil Kruger, that accident. We'll still wait for an update on Phil Kruger as well. Stan Fox, his engine let go when the oil pressure dropped. Chet Phillip cut the right rear of the car off. You saw that occur. Then Al Unser Jr. in that accident. To report there, possible fracture, left leg. Chip Ganassi, the doctors quote, severe head injuries. We'll wait for an update. And Spike Gelhausen's engine let go. We're 191 laps into the race, and so the attrition has really not been too bad at all. 33 car field started.
Still a fine field of cars out there. You know, this race is not too far from, or not too much left of it, Paul, and there's a lot of cars left on the racetrack.
About 59 laps to run in the Michigan 500, just over 100 miles. Al Unser Jr., fracture left leg is what they're worried about right now. Of course, he'll have to be x-rayed. Here is the accident again. Bobby, you watch it one more time.
Something just looked like it broke on Chip's car, and of course Chip went right in front of little Al's car, and that was the bad thing was Chip's car. It really looked, I mean, he hit that wall awfully hard, and the car broke in many pieces, and terribly worried about Chip. It sounded like little Al's going to be just generally all
another angle.
okay.
Now, watch Chip's car, the red car, as it comes through the air. If he has an injury to the head, that's where it happened.
Yes, it is.
It looked like it caught the Armco barrier upside down when it hit in, and the engine ripped completely loose. Incredible, frightening accident.
Car's in many pieces.
One more time, trying to analyze.
Did you see just before that? You saw something on his car wiggle really bad, and then it took off to the left really hard.
So instantaneously, Chip Ganassi is transferred from driver to passenger, and he takes Al Jr., little Al, to the fence with him on the backstretch.
Almost looked like maybe one of the CV joints could have broken on the car.
Well, Bobby, you're to be commended for not jumping up and down and running out of the back of the telecast booth here. There's Bobby Rahal. He leads the Michigan 500. He just made his pit stop. You see the caution flag story there. 10 flags today. That's kept the average speed down to 132.072 miles an hour to this point at 192 laps. We really had hoped that we could see a record Michigan 500, if not a record 500-mile race being run here today. That simply was not to be. Rahal picks the throttle up now and is ready to go racing once again. He is down in the serial as the green flag comes out, and we're back to action one more time. As car 4, Tom Sneva heads into the pits under this green flag, but apparently he got caught and he heads right back out of the pits as we watch them head off through the first turn. Tom Sneva was in the leader serial. There he is. He came flying through the pits, looked like he wanted to stop. They waved him on and he continued moving on. We'll watch Tom Sneva and see what the story is there. Here's Rahal. He's running up through the middle of the field now.
My guess on Tom was he didn't know that it was going to go green, as strange as it might seem, and he was going to come in the pit for a little adjustment or something, and then he realized it went green and took off.
He was back far enough that he might not have seen it. In first place is this number 5 car of Bobby Rahal. In second place is Roberto Guerrero. He's not in the screen at the moment, and now Mario Andretti being scored in second place. So Andretti sat on the pole, had his problems, and now is moving back up through the field. But this man commands the race, Bobby Rahal.
Well, he's looking very good. Of course, he's had a lot of competition all day, but just generally speaking, most of the day, he and Tom Sneva have been the best too.
There's Roberto Guerrero and Kevin Kogan. They're side by side. Kogan is not on the leader serial any longer, but of course Roberto Guerrero runs in third place. There is Mario, just out of the edge of the screen, the second place car. That bright red number 3 Budweiser Lola as he begins now to make his moves. He's got Danny Sullivan and Bentonhausen right in front of him. Here is Andretti as he works his way. Can he come past Danny Sullivan? Remember, those two battled at the Meadowlands race. He comes past Sullivan, in front of him Bettenhausen, and then in front of that, the leader Rahal. So another remarkable story.
Well, that's like a from the back start, isn't it? Just like it was with Foyt.
He certainly went back there. Foyt started from the back, but Andretti was having to have a full spark plug change.
Well, he lost a lap right there, Paul. Now he's back in the same lap in second place. This is the most remarkable race I have seen in an awful long time.
Carl Haas race, and Paul Newman trained those crews well. They got the job done. Paul Newman wishes he could be here. He's racing up at Brainerd, Minnesota this weekend. We understand the Trans Am running in the rain there. There is Mario Andretti, second place. Now a report comes to us from down in the pit area that Danny Ungais, whose car has fallen out of the race, is stepping up with a possibility of relieving A.J. Foyt. So the cramps that were reported earlier are apparently still persistent. I imagine it's really back pain with Foyt. He's still asking for help, and now it may be Danny.
Well, it could be, but I'm going to tell you something. That Foyt is tough, and if he does come in, well, he is coming in. So let's see if Danny...
We're watching Mario Andretti, the second place car, as here comes Foyt. Now, what will happen? This is a regular stop to the moment. Foyt doesn't appear to be unbuckling. He's looking around. The crew goes to work.
Boy, they sure weren't very excited about changing tires when he came in.
Now he's moving around in the cockpit. One of the crewmen jumps over to see exactly what it is he wants. Very casual, very routine for Foyt. Is that Ungais back in the background? Ungais is at that pit. He's ready to go in, but Foyt now chugs away as he dumps the clutch and almost kills the engine, but he gets it going again.
He's too tough to quit right now.
And Danny Ungais is standing right there. There you see him. Ungais is ready should Foyt want relief.
I don't think Deck's going to give up this close to the end. I really don't. I've never seen him quit yet.
You don't get relief often in the Indy cars anymore. You just can't put one day in.
Well, the driver doesn't fit the car. They were talking about Al a little while ago. My gosh, Al is so much smaller than Foyt. He'd rattle around there like a baby in a boxcar.
I don't want to be around when Foyt gets you after saying that. Bobby Rahal, car number 5, is our leader at the moment. Mario Andretti is in second place, but Rahal is running all alone. Mario, though, still closing. Roberto Guerrero in third. Rick Mears is fourth. Sneva is fifth. Pancho Carter is sixth. John Cox seventh. Kevin Kogan eighth. Jeff Brabham ninth. And Johnny Rutherford is now 10th. Guerrero off the course on the backstretch. Bounces through, keeps it under control. Took my breath away for a second. That's the same place the other accident happened.
Well, that was an amazing one. I haven't seen that happen in a long time, Paul.
Just off the course. Report comes to us now from the hospital a few miles away in Jackson that Al Unser Jr. did indeed suffer a fracture of his left ankle in that accident. We'll give you further updates as they come as well.
If that's all he has, Paul, I'm going to be pretty happy at this particular time.
Roberto Guerrero keeps going, but they do put out the yellow flag. So, again, we're under yellow at Michigan, and he's going to come in for a stop. Maybe something broke causing that problem. They're going to have it checked.
I don't know. He's making it around here pretty good, so I don't know. I'll look and see what they're going to change during the stop here.
Roberto Guerrero, the Bignotti Cotter crew is there. Here's Gary Gerald there as well. Gary?
Well, Paul, we caught the crew totally by surprise. We relayed the information that Roberto was off course. Then Phil Casey, the new crew chief, came running. The crew went over the wall. They're putting fresh tires on. The yellow, as you mentioned, is a significant break for Roberto, who's been running in the top 5. You can see the big eyes looking this way. Now they're going to make an adjustment here at the nose. They've got the duct tape out, but they're having a problem getting it unfurled. Now they've gone for another piece of tape. Champ has taken off his gloves at the nose of the car. They don't want to lose him. So they're going to send him back out. Undoubtedly, they may try to bring him back in.
Well, should they do that under the yellow flag, that's good strategy. Gary Gerald will be there as Tom Sneva rolls down into the pits as well. Again, one of our early leaders. Now Sneva comes to a stop. He's up on the jacks, and the crew goes to work on that car. This looks like a 3-tire change for Sneva. Indeed, it is right front. Here is Foyt back in. Will they change? One of his crew members, Billy, climbs over there. Looks like he was ready to help Foyt should he want out. Tom Sneva, they refuel. 3 tires changed. He comes back to the action. Gordon Johncock rolls out just behind him. So the leaders of this field taking advantage. Foyt stays in the car, and Foyt goes back to the fight.
I told you he was tough. He's not going to quit that easy.
Doesn't look like he's going to quit at all.
No, I think he's going to. I've never seen him have to take relief yet, so it's hard for me to believe today that he would have to.
Well, Bobby Rahal stays out. We are 201 laps in of the 250 that are scheduled as we watch A.J. Foyt go back to the action under the yellow flag. That should mean that they still have one more pit stop before the end of 500 miles. We'll be back with more of the Michigan 500 after this. We're back live at the Michigan 500. The yellow flag is out. It is out as a result of Roberto Guerrero's spin coming off of 2. He stopped once. He is coming to stop again. Here's Gary.
Well, Paul, this time he almost has to the tire changes there. Now they're strictly trying to tape up some damage up here around the nose of the car and around the ducts. The tape goes rolling back across the track, down off the jacks. Guerrero spins away once again.
Roberto Guerrero, his first ride on a super speedway. Good job this afternoon. Handsome young man, rookie here in the Michigan 500. Beautiful wife, Katie, too, in case you ladies were interested. He had his problem coming off of turn 2. Here is right now the leader serial, 203 laps complete, 250 scheduled. Bobby Rahal, Mario, started on the pole, fell way back, comes back up front. Tom Sneva, Gordon Johncock, and Rick Mears. Rahal should be due to try and make a stop under this yellow as well. Bruce Jenner is there as Rahal comes in. Bruce?
Bobby Rahal coming into the pits. They're looking at the tires. They're going to put 2 outside tires, and they're going actually with a 3-tire change. Rahal getting a little bit of refreshment, and there's the overflow. The thing is out. Mario is out right, also coming in right now. So Bobby Rahal trying to stay out there under the yellow as long as he possibly can. Quickly get a word with Jim Truman. Jim, can you make it to the finish line?
We think so. I don't think it'll be a problem. If this yellow lasts a little bit longer, should be no problem. All the leaders have pitted within the last 3 laps, so we're all in the same boat.
Now it's a sprint.
I think so. I think he understands it.
Okay. Paul.
That's only about a $55,000 gamble for Jim Truman. Mario Andretti got out ahead of Bobby Rahal. Of course, there's Tom Sneva, who stayed out on the course, and Puff of Smoke. No idea what that is, but Tom Sneva now picks up the lead with Gordon Johncock in second place as we take a look at him on the backstretch. The backstretch was where Roberto Guerrero got in trouble. Let's go back now just a few moments ago as Rahal comes up to speed. At the top of your screen, you saw him just when he started to spin. We'll tilt back up once again. There's Roberto Guerrero. That's the same thing that Ganassi did. Maybe something broke, or maybe there's a problem up there.
Well, maybe it's a track.
A little bit earlier than Ganassi, though.
Yes, it's a possibility the track's just plain slippery right there, too.
The green flag flies. Rick Mears is in third place, Johncock second, and Tom Sneva leads. There comes Sneva as he has plenty of traffic to contend with. And Gordon Johncock comes down alongside to challenge on Tom Sneva. That's Sneva's teammate. There's Tom Sneva. Gordon Johncock was alongside with the challenge. And Gordon Johncock gets him. Gordon Johncock now in the lead at the Michigan 500. Remember, he's won one of these races. He knows how to do it. He sure would like to do it again, and he got past Tommy there.
I told you he's a tough guy at this track. He's really quick here. He loves this racetrack.
Gordon Johncock badly fractured his legs here a year ago. Fractured him again at the Indianapolis 500 just last May, but you can't keep little Gordy down. He lives 25 miles from here in Coldwater, Michigan. He loves to race.
He gets broken feet, broken legs. He just keeps driving the race car.
He keeps an open account at his orthopedic surgeon. Gordon Johncock now out in front of the Michigan 500. Sneva second, Rick Mears third, Pancho Carter fourth. Roberto Guerrero stays up in the front, running in fifth place right now.
Yes, well, Jose Newgarden is back in with field 2. I noticed he's running right behind Johncock there.
Garza, who stalled earlier on this racetrack, they got him started, got him back in the action now. Bobby, what about strategy, though?
Well, the strategy is that everybody is going to, all the leaders, let's say that, are basically together right now with fuel and laps and everything, and they're going to have to stop again, I think. I don't think they can make it to the end without an awfully long yellow. And that means that it's going to see the last stops are really going to be the big deal. But one of the things that's important is Mario didn't get tires on the last stop. Bobby Rahal did. Now that's going to become a very important factor.
We're watching Gordon Johncock. Here is A.J. Foyt. Now, A.J. has been having his problems. You saw Danny Ungaya standing by. A.J. is currently running in 12th place, but he's slowing well down off the pace. I wonder if it's the engine, or I wonder if Foyt's finally giving it up.
Well, I'm just still going to tell you that I just can't believe that it's Foyt, but we'll have to see. I could be wrong.
We'll watch Gordon Johncock. Out in front here is Foyt as he rolls down into the pit area. We'll watch A.J. Foyt. Danny Ungayas was there before. He pulled off the pace, slowed down. Let's see what's going to happen. No, it's mechanical.
Yeah, that's a sayonara thing. Foyt's getting out, but I don't see Danny getting too excited.
Billy looks at the back of the car. A.J. Foyt's engine is off. It looks like what was a spectacular afternoon for A.J. Foyt may now be over. Gordon Johncock is in first. Bobby Rahal, there you see him, the second-place car. Michael Andretti down low on the course as well. The number 99 machine looks like he's shutting it down. So here now in the final laps, with just about 41 laps to go, attrition is becoming a factor.
Well, it's later this year, Paul, than we've ever seen. I hope we don't have any more.
Hey,
Look at that point. Now, there's nothing wrong with that guy. I don't care what they say.
There's young Michael, Mario's son, as he pulls off the course. So quickly now, they're beginning to drop by the wayside. Michael drives it behind the barrier. Johncock leads. Rahal second. Sneva third. Michael Andretti out. Pancho Carter fourth. Look at Foyt. Helmet off. He certainly proved to everybody, though, that he's still very much a factor. That man started last, went up to the front, stayed in the fight. This man's still a factor, too. There's a lot of gray hairs showing up for these guys. It doesn't seem to be slowing them down.
That Johncock's tough. He's tough, and so is Foyt. That Foyt really wanted to race today, and you remember we discussed yesterday about the fact that maybe he was going to just try to run for the front, not worry about dropping out or not. Well, I'm guaranteeing you he was going for the finish, wasn't he?
He certainly was, and AJ doesn't seem totally displeased with it. I think he really knows what he's done. He's proven that he's a factor once again. There was some question of it. There's Gary. Gary, what do you think? Let's talk with AJ.
Well, AJ, you put on a heck of a show. These people up here gave you a standing ovation when you got out of the car. That doesn't hurt the disappointment, I guess.
Yeah, we really are. We broke the struts on the pods. And
car spinning. We've got a problem, Gary.
Excuse me. We've
got a real problem, Gary. As we have one car spinning, Gary Bettenhausen, and it looks like that was Howdy that got right into him. Got a car up against the wall. Want to hesitate because we're getting two different reports on what that car is on the outside there.
The drivers are okay. That's the main thing. They look fine.
And that is Roberto Guerrero against the wall.
No.
Now they're giving us another report. So I'm just going to stop and wait. We know that that's Gary Bettenhausen. That's Gary Bettenhausen climbing out. But we really can't tell with this other car. There's three different possibilities. Bobby, I don't even want to suggest. You know him a bit better. Can you tell?
Well, it looks like possibly the 41 car to me. But
that's
again,
what I thought
I just really can't tell.
You can't see the rear wing. The helmet would be. We'll just wait. But apparently, the 82 car lost it, and there is nothing that could be done there.
You know what?
Bobby Rahal comes off the course. He was involved in that accident. I think that's what got to us. We couldn't really tell. There's the Rahal car, and he's out of it.
Well, I was guilty on this one, Paul, because I was watching the monitor, so I really didn't see what happened on the racetrack.
Really confusing there. We'll try and make sense of that one in just a moment. All right, we'll try and take a look at it again. Apparently, two simultaneous accidents occurring here, and we'll try and show them to you. You're looking at Gordon Johncock. Al Holbert high. Obviously, somebody's lost it in front of him. That's Bettenhausen. And Rahal catches the wall alongside of Holbert.
Look at that car up on top of the other one there.
Now, as we continue to watch,
car was clear up on top of the other one. Car was double stacked there for a while.
Somebody had to suck their breath in on that one, too.
That's a pretty close deal.
That's dangerous.
We've seen the weirdest wrecks today we've seen in an awful long time.
Two simultaneous accidents.
Look at that car get up on top of him now.
See
Look at the
car
car almost
right
turned over
the screen, though? You've got two accidents here, and I think that's Howdy, but I'm still not sure. Let's wait. CART is trying to get us all the official reports. And as you can see, maybe if you got one of those wonderful giant screen TVs at home, you can tell better than we can on the small monitors here. But we're watching. Let's take a look at it just one more time. Again, here's Johncock. That's Rahal high. Holbert in there, crowding into Rahal. Rahal up against the wall. And there's the second accident. But you can't tell. There is a car under there. That's really two cars. Maybe we can get a clarification on the whole thing if right now we go down to the pit area. Bruce Jenner is with one of the drivers that might have been very close, if not involved.
Okay, with me right now is Al Holbert, who was driving well, but unfortunately went out of the race. She had some front-end damage. But Al, could you put a little light on this? What happened out there?
Well, it really goes back about 10 laps when Michael had a flat and smoke came out, and I've been here before, and it's so long around the corner you can't see. And I'd seen smoke then, and I slowed down, and then And Gary Bentonhausen, I think, was trying to get by somebody here just now. Well, no caution came out back then. Gary was trying to get back by somebody, and Bobby had just slapped me, Bobby Rahal. Right. And he saw the smoke, and the lights came on. I saw the smoke, and I hit the brakes, and he hit him better than I did, and he slowed down, and I just had nowhere to go. I'm sorry, Bobby.
Unfortunate.
Yeah, it really was, because Bobby was in a place to win a race for Jim, for Red Roofs.
All right. Best of luck next time. Sorry about that one. Okay, Al Holbert. Paul?
Well, there's some sportsmanship from 1983 IMSA champion. All right, let's look at it. We've got a couple other ways we can look at it. There is the Gary Bentonhausen spin. Now, we should see another car come in and collect him. And without question, I think that is Howdy Holmes now. But look at that. Look at that. All over the top of the roll bar on Howdy's car.
I can't believe it, Paul.
That's the first angle that we've been able really to tell who the second car is. And they slide to the wall. Believe it or not, we've got even another way that we can look at it.
That's just short of a miracle.
Looking across the turn. Turn 3. There's the spin. Now you can, if you watch up to the left, you'll see the other situation occurring as well. There's the first spin. There you see Holbert and Rahal go up to the wall.
See, they were ducking the smoke. They don't know what's in that smoke is the problem, so they both...
Boy, now you see why that camera's unmanned, too, because as Holbert came sliding through there, he was still throwing some parts off. Now, Gary, we're sorry we interrupted you, and we're sorry we interrupted A.J. Gary Gerald.
Well, Paul, A.J., thank you for staying with us. Paul was extending a thanks, too, for your sticking by while they checked out that accident situation. Now, it was the left side pod that broke on your car, right?
Yes, it broke, and it started coming all apart, and it got where I like to spun right there after we changed tires twice, and then I knew it wasn't no tire problem, and I didn't know the pods was about to fall off, and the whole left side, the underwing was off, so I had no ground effects, and after I turned sideways and saved it, I said, 3 years in a row I went to the hospital, I'm not going again.
Now, you had the report of discomfort, you were getting some cramping, and we're talking about a relief driver.
Yes, I was. I asked if Al Unser could drive the car because, he's drove for me before. But I guess Roger Penske said that, no, he couldn't, and he was on his way down. But I guess Roger stopped him according to what the crew come back and told me. So I said, I'll stick it out.
Now, how's your back? You had some minor surgery recently. I know you had some discomfort because you were throwing some tubing out of the cockpit.
That's quite true. We had some rubber. I had a deal built up to hold my legs up, and I had nothing under them, and it was just cramping so bad under the yellow I couldn't hardly. It's like Charlie horse. It was hurting.
Thank you, A.J. Good to see you back in Michigan. It was a great ride while it lasted.
It's awful nice to leave here and not be at the hospital for a change. Thank you.
I'm sure you'll second that. Back to you, Paul.
Gary, I think that interview goes down in the record books. You got A.J. just out of race and then held him for another 5 minutes and interviewed him again. We're under yellow once again at the Michigan 500. We'll give you an update on the status of these drivers, but as of right now, Mario Andretti is back at the front of the serial with Rick Mears in second place. We'll be back right after this. Magnificent job.
More than you could ever believe, because 10, 15 years ago, a lot of those drivers just wouldn't even be here with us today now.
Absolutely incredible, and to see that car not go upside down. Here's the man that was almost upside down with Gary Bentonhausen.
Well, Paul, here is Gary B. They call him the Schmucker. I guess I didn't get to see it. You had a view that you probably don't want to see, but they tell us you were almost upside down.
Yeah, that's the way it appeared to me. The car was up in the air, and I could see black top, and I was sure the car was going to get upside down, so I just kind of put my head down and hung on. And next thing I knew, the car came down, and Howdy and I were tied up together, and we went up into the wall lightly.
Gary, we've seen some horrible accidents here today. 10 years ago, a driver wouldn't be able to walk away and talk to us after one of these crashes, would he?
No, I don't think so. There's been a tremendous amount of safety improvements made in the cars in the last 5 years, and believe me, I think we owe a lot to CART for the safety that they've put into these cars.
Well, we're delighted to see that you're all right, Gary. We're going to go back over to Bruce Jenner now, who is standing by with Howdy Holmes. Bruce?
Thank you, Gary. Right now I am with Howdy Holmes. And Howdy, what happened out there?
Gary Bentonhausen spun, and of course when that happens there's always a lot of smoke, and Kevin Cogan and I were the next two behind him. As we came out of the smoke, Kevin was high, I was in the middle of the track, and so was Gary, but he wasn't moving. And I I just ran right into the back of him, and his car came up in the air, and then I went underneath his car, turned over, and it was perpendicular to where I was sitting, sort of like this.
Not a nice position to be in.
No, I'm trying to push the damn thing. I think I ought to charge him for gas. I don't know. And then we both slid into the wall, and cars are junk, but both of us are all fine.
That is amazing. You have to really rely on the safety of these cars that they can take a beating like that.
Well, they could take a beating, you know. In a case like that, I was very lucky because there was nothing to stop him sliding and just taking my head off. You know, it would have been rather interesting, but it's funny.
I'm glad you're all right.
Yeah, we're fine. Okay. Thanks.
Well, there's a guy with a sense of humor. Howdy Holmes. He lives over in Ann Arbor, about 45 miles from here at this track. We're, of course, under yellow. Mario Andretti leads. Second is Rick Mears. Roberto Guerrero is in third. Pancho Carter fourth. Gordon Johncock fifth. Tom Sneva sixth. Kevin Kogan seventh, 1 lap down. We'll be back after this. Yeah, he did. We're back live at the Michigan 500. This is Paul Page with Bobby Unser, Gary Gerald, and Bruce Jenner. We are still under the yellow flag. A double accident, really. Remarkable occurrence. The equipment is now going back to position. The story, 223 laps complete, 250 scheduled, and Mario Andretti sits at the front. Rick Mears sits in second place. Can they make it to the end of the race? We'll check first with Bruce Jenner, who has an update on the accident.
Thank you, Paul. With me, Debbie Rahal, Bobby Rahal's wife. You have his helmet. The rest of his body's okay.
He was banged up, and as they always do, they're just checking him to make sure that nothing's broken. But I think he was jarred terribly, and he says there's really nothing left of the car, that it was amazing that he wasn't hurt.
Probably the toughest thing for anybody to do when somebody's out there competing, especially in a sport like this, is to be on the sideline all the time, especially after Cleveland a few weeks ago. How frustrating, and then again today.
As Bobby says, if we didn't have bad luck, we wouldn't have any luck at all. It's just one thing after another, and it's just one of those risks you take with the racing, but it's sure disappointing. But he's okay.
All right, keep your spirits high. Let's go over to Gary Gerald now. Thanks.
All right, Bruce, we've got Carl Haas, who's up here on the wall. Carl, the question is, you took the last stop somewhere around lap 212. Are you going to try to go to the distance, or are we looking at a repeat of the Meadowlands here?
Well, we really don't want to tell everybody, but we're going to try and go all the way.
You're going to try to go the distance?
We might.
Do you feel like you're cutting it close?
It'll be close. It'll be close.
All right, that's Carl Haas, the car owner, along with Paul Newman, who's busy racing this weekend. The story in the Andretti pit as we go green, Paul.
Carl just did indeed tell everybody they're going to try to go the whole way. A repeat of the Meadowlands here, because it's actually 204 laps is the last stop, so that's stretching it quite a bit, Bobby Unser. It's a sprint to the finish. We're back under green racing. 225th lap that we're working on now. So we're coming down the final 50 miles of the Michigan 500. There's Mario Andretti, the Budweiser Lola number 3 out in front. Rick Mears is in second place. Roberto Guerrero third.
Well, it's going to be interesting because everything is going to depend on when they stop for the last time, and there's a little bit of discrepancy on what we have on that. But if they have as far as we show them they have to go, they may not make it without another fuel stop. It's certainly going to make a lot of difference on the fuel right now. Most of the cars that we watched in the last yellow came in, and that really, there's Johncock going by Guerrero again, it looks like.
We're watching Gordon flag, so a fight up at the front. Can Mario Andretti hold them off? We're looking right now at the battle for third place, currently occupied by Tom Sneva, but being challenged by Johncock, Guerrero, and Rick Mears.
Well, that's a good race right there. Of course, Mario's not too far out in front right now, so we'll just have to see. Everything's going to depend on the fuel. It won't be too much longer, Paul, before everybody really turns loose and lets go everything that they've saved all day.
Certainly a gamble by Carl Haas and his team. I bet they wish that Paul Newman was here to help make the decision, or at least maybe share some of the blame if it goes wrong. Mario Andretti going to try to run further than he's run before on a fuel tank. Gordon Johncock right there. He is trying to win the Michigan 500 again. He is in third place. Just in front of him is the first winner of the Michigan 500, Pancho Carter, as Rick Mears runs down on the inside of Roberto Guerrero and takes a challenge. The fight here is for fourth place, but Guerrero holds Mears off as Mears comes way high off of that corner.
It's obvious that Rick is just not turning his boost up, so I have an idea that maybe he's going to run a little bit short on fuel, or be close at least.
And now Rick Mears cranks mixer in, comes by Roberto Guerrero. They both pull up high while Johncock lays down low. The question is, what of these cars can run to the finish? Well, Rick Mears, Pancho Carter, Gordon Johncock, Guerrero, they should be able to. Well, Rick Mears actually stopped at about the same time as Andretti, so he'll have to conserve a little bit. Those other cars have stopped about 10 laps later. They should be able to cleanly go to the finish.
Which means they're going to be able to run more boost, which is more horsepower, and they should give all the guys who stop the last a little bit of an advantage. In fact, maybe quite a bit of an advantage.
Watching the fight for third, here comes Rick Mears alongside Gordon Johncock. And dusts him off pretty easily, too. So what's the Rick Mears move?
Well, I don't know, Paul. I know one thing. Gordy should have more fuel than Rick, according to our fuel calculations here.
All right, as we watch at the front of the field, here's the situation. The actual standings now given to us. Mario leads. Carter is second. Tom Sneva is third. Johncock, the fight we were watching, a battle for fourth place. Rick Mears fourth. Roberto Guerrero running now down there. Here is Rick Mears back out in front of Johncock again, so they keep changing positions constantly as we look back and forth from the charts to the track.
You know, even though there's only 20 laps left of this race, Paul, we've never seen a 500-miler with so much racing at 20 laps from the end as we're seeing today.
There is Tom Sneva. He is now around Pancho Carter and into second place. The leader is still Mario Andretti. A bit of confusion at the front of the field. There comes Carter through. Third place now. We believe it's established and firm here. It is Andretti. It is Tom Sneva. It is Pancho Carter running at the front of the field, and then Rick Mears sitting just a bit back from Carter.
Still at a good group. It's still going to be a heck of a race right to the end.
231 laps are now complete. Pancho Carter, again, a new ride for him. He has to feel wonderful about this. He won the first Michigan 500. We're back to the leader now. Mario never won a 500-mile race here, but the last race that he won on the ovals 4 years ago in the Michigan 150. Remember, started early, the spark plugs went. His crew made a complete change of those plugs. He battled his way up from being a lap down and is now running in front at the Michigan 500-mile race. Now, here is Mario Andretti. Look back and find the second place car of Tom Sneva. Sneva running in second. They're on the backstretch. There's Mario.
He's about almost a little bit between a quarter and a half of a straightaway behind right now, Paul.
So at the moment, he has a very good lead. The number 27 car pulling off and down the course. That's Bill Alsop. Now, he continues to run at speed, but he's off of the line. And will it bring out a yellow flag? It should not, as long as he continues to run on the circuit. But if he stops on the circuit, then the yellow will come out again. You think it was scheduled as a sprint before, it'll definitely be a sprint now.
Yes, we've had so many exciting things today. One more just going to make it that much better, I guess.
The leaders are being careful. There is first place. Now, you look just up behind him. Second place, Tom Sneva. Third place, Pancho Carter, as he's being chased down by Rick Mears. They're being very careful at the front now. 233 laps complete. 250 scheduled in this race.
Kind of looks like it's been a sin to get up in front for a while. It's something happens to everybody that gets up there.
Penske team reporting that there has been a problem with Rick Mears' pop-off valve on his machine. They say, despite the fact he stopped at 202 laps, he plans to go the distance. Now, as we look back, there it is once again, first through fourth. Andretti with Sneva right behind him as he comes across those twin bumps in the third turn.
It would appear that Tom is pulling up on Mario just a little bit. Not a great deal, not very fast, but he's still got about 15 laps left to pull the little tricks out.
Andretti, Sneva, first and second place at the Michigan 500. There comes Andretti again. He continues to maintain his interval. Right now, he is out in front of the Michigan 500. Mario Andretti leads it. Tom Sneva's in second place. Pancho Carter third. Rick Mears chasing him down. Gordon Johncock sitting in fifth. Roberto Guerrero is back in sixth place. We will be back. The Michigan 500. This is Paul Page with Bobby Unser, Bruce Jenner, and Gary Gerald. There's a separation first to second place. Mario Andretti and Tom Sneva just seconds ago. A fight developing for third place. There's Rick Mears following Pancho Carter, closing down on Carter as Mears on the backstretch. The fight for third. Rick Mears, his crew reporting that they have been having some problems with a pop-off valve. Watch him as he closes down behind Pancho Carter and tries a pass for third place.
Well, he can work up on him, but if he's having trouble with pop-off valve, it means that Pancho's going to have a little power advantage on him. So Rick may pick him up in some handling. There he is.
As he rolls past, and that puts Rick Mears into third place in the Michigan 500, pushes Carter back to fourth with John Cock in fifth. Now our leader is Mario Andretti. There he is, running so smoothly.
Just how low he's running now, Paul?
239 laps complete. He's down low on the race course. There's no question about it. The question, though, is one of concentration. Mario Andretti, who has driven so many miles on a race course. We ask him about concentration here in the late stages.
Well, concentration is really a primary thing here because of the high speed involved. And also, you're running traffic all the time, and there's a lot of speed differential between perhaps yourself and whoever you're trying to pass or lap. And that is a tendency to really creep up on you. So it's easy to make mistakes, and certainly don't want to make any mistakes here.
Mario Andretti, the leader. Bobby Unser, you said he was running low as Sneva begins to close.
He's hunting that dry pavement on the bottom. You know, it's slippery every place else, and looks like Tom's going to start working him over pretty quick here. Watch how low they run on the racetrack, especially going to turn 3. They're just dang near down to the white line over there.
It's a fight for the front. If ever two men know how to go fast, these two guys do. Right now, it's Andretti in front. His question mark, does he have enough fuel to go to the end of the race? Let's go to Rick Mears' pit. Here's Bruce Jenner.
Thank you, Paul. You've mentioned a couple times about Rick Mears having trouble with his pop-off valve. Well, I came down here to check it out, and I see Roger Penske standing right here, and right down at his feet is another pop-off valve. So they're obviously having problems right now, but Rick Mears continues to stay up to speed. Paul?
Sneva makes a run on Mario Andretti, but has to fall back, and that cost him a bit. He used a lot of energy and a lot of momentum to try to catch him up. Now he's falling back.
Really, he's in a slipstream. It's really not hurting Tom. I think that was just a wake-up call. I think that's Tom just saying, hey, Mario, you better get going here, or trying to make him use up the fuel that he may not have.
Just over 7 laps to go now in the Michigan 500. The battle is still at the front. The question is still Andretti and his fuel tank. Does he have enough to go the distance? He should be running very light. Sneva tries him on the high side. Tom Sneva up very close to the wall. Sneva a challenge for the front. Andretti holds him off. Andretti still maintains the lead.
He's doing a good job. That cylinder's not missing on the engine anymore, is it?
It certainly isn't now, and Tom Sneva is given it every test that is possible. They're going to try it again. We're going to have a sprint race right to the end of the Michigan 500. Here comes Sneva going into 3. They both go across the bumps, but again, Andretti is able to hold off. Andretti really knows his way around as well. We're seeing two masters at their craft right here.
He's using up a lot of racetrack, and he's doing it down on the bottom where Tom needs to pass, and he's doing it for 2 reasons. One, because it's dry down there and you stick better, and the second reason is it keeps Tom from passing.
Tommy tries it again, but the Lola handles about anywhere that Mario puts it. Tom Sneva has to drop back again. Again, a burst of power. They come off of turn 2 onto the backstretch. Now Sneva seems to pull up a little more than he has in the past couple of laps. He takes advantage of the draft. He puts a couple of feet of his wings into clear air, but he still stays back off of Andretti. Maybe he found out now what he needs to know as we come in the closing moments of the Michigan 500 for 1984.
Well, there's 5 laps left, Paul. We're still going to see a big race between these two. It's not over yet.
Andretti, Sneva, first and second place. After 500 miles, this is the fight in the race. Put you in mind of Mears and Johncock back at the Indianapolis 500 as they battle all the way around. You can see the fans. They just wave their arms. They're yelling, go, go, go. Partiality for Mario Andretti here.
Don't see any fans leaving either, do you? It's a good race.
They are staying here, and the grandstands have been jammed to capacity. Here's Mario Andretti. Sneva behind him. There's what the pit crew can see as they sit ever so quiet, saying, what's going on? As Sneva tries it again. He's alongside Andretti, but again he drops back. And he pulls high as he comes off of Andretti. Andretti is keeping him back there.
Tom can't seem to hold the bottom right at that particular spot, which is right in turn 2. And he seems to be able to get under Mario going into 1 and through the middle, but he can't seem to stay down there for long enough for a pass.
Remember the unwritten rules of racing. The racetrack belongs to the leader. Mario can drive any way he wants, and it's up to Tom Sneva to get past. Of course, they're good, perfect race drivers, excellent sportsmen. They're both going to race just as hard as they can.
They're both tough and they're both stubborn. That's what you're going to see when it comes right down the left.
Here was a factor last year, the slower traffic. They begin to encounter cars in front of them with 3 laps to go now. Andretti still out in front, about 150 yards. Tom Sneva in pursuit. It's a Lola. It's a March. They are both Cosworth racing engines. They come down under Jeff Brabham. Brabham sitting high alongside Mario Andretti. In second place is Sneva, who closes up. Now they come up behind other cars. That's the Eagle of Peter Halsmer directly in front of Andretti. Look how quiet that crew is. They're taking it ever so careful. Little smirk there. Marty Hoyer, one of the scorers, looking around it, saying, what's going on? Where's everybody else in this 500-mile race? Everybody is watching this fight right at the lead. Andretti, Sneva behind him. Scott Brayton in front of him as they come down the backstretch. Andretti comes low. Plays it careful behind Brayton. Sneva closes up. Andretti still out in front. Andretti continues to lead the 500 as we are watching the white flag comes out for Mario Andretti. Now Sneva closes up. This is where it tells. Scotty Brayton is right in front of Andretti. Andretti closes down on top of Sneva, shuts the door on him. Scotty Brayton surely knows that the leaders are coming behind him. Less than 2 miles to go now. Now just at 1 mile to go. Down the backstretch. Here is Andretti. This is where the race was decided last year. What will happen here in '84? Andretti down through turn 3. Through turn 3, through turn 4. Sneva's trying him on the inside. An accident on the backstretch. An accident on the backstretch. As they come to the line, they'll see the yellow flag and the checkered flag. And Mario Andretti appears to win the race, but boy, it was close. It was close with an accident on the backstretch at the same time. Similar to last year. That was Pancho Carter flipping down the backstretch. Andretti's crew says they did it. There is Carter's car. A tremendous run for Carter. He was running up in 3rd and 4th, and then an accident as the checkered comes out.
Boy, I'll tell you, Paul, we've seen more. I'm happy to see right now that Pancho is moving, so I'm hoping that he's not hurt too bad. My congratulations to Mario, but I'm worried. That was a terrible wreck with Pancho, and look at that down there. But at least he's moving, so it looks like maybe that's good news for us, at least.
Pancho climbing out. Let's take a look there on the right-hand side. That's the battle that was going on between Mears and Carter for 3rd place. Carter tries it on the inside. Looks like he just lost aerodynamics and touched the back of Rick's car.
There's no question about it. Looks like the air just let go. Look at the car totally broken up, and Pancho's in nothing but a capsule with no engine. Now it's turned
all the way over. Whoa! John Cock comes by. Frightening accident for Pancho Carter. He was in a terrible accident in a private practice session at Phoenix in 1977. Badly injured his pelvis and legs.
Strangest race I've seen. Strangest race I've seen in years, I think, Paul.
A most unusual afternoon as Mario Andretti rolls into winner's circle here at Michigan, the 4th winner of the Michigan 500. Gary Gerald's right there.
Well, Paul, we're down here. Don Henderson is helping, got the cold towels for Mario, the cold drink. They're trying to get Mario up out of here, of course. He pulls off the gloves ever so slowly. A sensational finish to 500 miles. What an incredible afternoon as Mario now goes up here for the 3rd time this year. He finds himself in victory lane. The other 2 wins had been on the road courses. Now it's the oval. It's been 15 years since Mario Andretti won a 500-mile race. A kiss from Carl Haas. And now cold drinks, the caps. It's bedlam down here in Michigan, Paul. Don, excuse me, let me slide up here on the pod. Mario's got the cold towel, the accolades of the crowd. This has to be a sensational feeling, Mario Andretti. What a race.
Yeah, I can't believe it because we had everything going against us there at the beginning. We lost the cylinder, and thanks to my Budweiser crew, they were able to get right to it and find what it was, and we got our breath back, and just playing the strategy is sort of work. We got our lap back, and so it was beautiful.
Mario, it's been 15 years since you won a 500-mile race. You won in '67 at Daytona in the stock car, '69 in the Indianapolis 500. The feeling right now?
Well, it's hard to really describe it because, as you can see, I've been working very hard all these years, and my goals are to win and to put more 500s behind me because obviously they're the ones that everyone talks about the most. So I'm just totally happy and just elated with everyone because they all got me here. You know, it's a great team effort.
Mario, I want to leave this souvenir. This is the spark plug that they had to pull. The wire was off of it. That's why you were on 7 cylinders. That's the very one. They put the right one back in. They got the wire hooked up. You win the race. That'll go in the trophy case, I think.
I guess so. I guess everything ended well, so that's it.
Congratulations, Mario. Let's go back upstairs now to Paul Page.
Mario Andretti wins after a roller coaster afternoon. Here is the run coming to the finish. They split the difference between Scotty Brayton, but Mario gets over the line just a tick in front of Tom Sneva. The margin of victory, 22/100ths of a second. This may be the Andretti good luck piece. It's a 525-pound Tiger Bombay that belongs to Steve McMillan, who is a good friend of both Michael and Mario and one of both their sponsors. He comes along to the races now. That's Mario. It was taped this morning. Mario went by. There's a little advice from Bombay. Look at him. You notice the Tiger has bigger teeth than Mario, though.
Yeah, right.
Well, the handsome Italian from Nazareth, Pennsylvania wins. Now, let's go down to Bruce Jenner.
All right, Tom. Very, very close 500-mile race. It came into turn 1 and 2, and it looked like Mario just closed the door on you.
Yeah, it was more than just 1 or 2 laps in a row, too. You know, we tried him low, and he tried to kill me there, and we tried him high, and he shut me off on the wall. And, you know, that's Saturday night fairground stuff, and I don't think it belongs here at 200 miles an hour. He could hurt us both, and you know, it's not a good situation.
Speaking of that, you saw an awful lot of accidents out there, and you say you were just a little bit hesitant in trying to go around when Mario was closing the door on you, but there certainly was an awful lot of action out there on that track today.
Well, there was. You know, it's a fast racetrack, and with all the aerodynamic security blankets we have on these cars, we're just going too fast for the strength of the vehicles, and you know, we're going to have to rethink the situation quite heavily because we could have hurt a lot of people real bad today.
All right, well, it was a very close race. It was very exciting to watch, and you'll get him next time.
Well, we'll be after him.
Okay.